everybody, welcome to a video that I've been meaning to make for a very long time. I have really heavily gotten into the Soulsborne series of games by From Software in the last 2 years, and it is a very boss-centric video game series, and a very difficult one. And over the last couple years, I have played all of their games and conquered over 100 different boss battles. Of course, these games include Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Skull Over the First Sin, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and Bloodborne. And I have had the idea for a very long time to compile every boss in all of these games into one tier list. I have spent a long time in all of these games. I've played all of them except for Demon Souls for over 100 hours, in some cases over 200 hours. And I believe I still have a pretty clear recollection of what these bosses were like. I'm a huge fan of these games for their gameplay, their atmosphere, their creature designs, their lore, their RPG elements. I like some of their multiplayer, sometimes I don't like the multiplayer so much, it depends. And before we get into making the tier list itself, I want to clarify three things. First, credit all these images to the Fextralife wikis, the Dark Souls wiki, Demon Souls wiki, Sekiro wiki, Bloodborne wiki. Second, by my count, there are 167 of these bosses, and it is debatable to many what counts as a boss in these games, because there are a lot of strong enemies and there are a lot of weak bosses, and there are some things that look like a boss in every sense but just differ from the others in one way or another. So my definition for these bosses, I'm going to lay it out. For the most part, it is any encounter which you cannot escape. You cannot escape the arena physically, although you usually can teleport out. And there is a red health bar name tag. That's pretty much the most universal unifying trait of these bosses, the red name tag. There are some enemies that get red name tags but still don't count as bosses, such as the secret Freya encounter in Dark Souls 2's New Game Plus. As for Bloodborne, as you may have already spotted, I am deciding to include Chalice dungeon bosses, however, only one of each. So, not every Chalice dungeon encounter is in here, just one of every type of Chalice dungeon boss. Second, I have to clarify for Sekiro that Sekiro's bosses are pretty loosely defined. I am defining them as any enemy encounter that rewards the player with a memory item. So for every memory key item that you acquire in Sekiro, that is one boss. I suppose the last thing to clarify is that this is not a tier list of how difficult each of these bosses is. That is a discussion for another time. This tier list represents my personal favorites, how much I like them personally. And I believe here that either Tier Maker or the File Explorer has sorted them alphabetically. So that's just the order that I'm going to head in. Well, they're not perfectly alphabetical. I can see it only alphabetized the file names. So if the file name had like an odd character at the beginning, then as you can see here, we have a G right at the top and an S and a T So, yeah, we have some A's at the top here, but then we have a lot of... Alright, so it's kind of pseudo-randomly organized. Uh, I did take all of these images from the Fexterlife wikis. However, some of them are not very helpful, so I might have to pause just to make sure, like, which is which. Like this one here, you can barely tell. And this one, it could be anything. This one. Well, anyway, let's get into it. My favorite Soulsborne bosses, from Dark Souls to Demon Souls to Bloodborne to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. But first of all here, up with the A's, of course, we have the double A, that makes sense. Ava the King's Pet. You find Ava in Frozen Aleum Lois, in the Crown of the Ivory King DLC of Dark Souls 2, the original version and Scholar of the First Sin. Ava the King's Pet is... it's one of the gimmicky bosses. What it does is it's completely invisible until you find a hidden key item, a pair of magic eyes or whatever. I can't even remember really what the key item is, it doesn't matter, but you pick it up and then you can finally see Ava and defeat it normally, and then it's not such a hard boss. Ava... Dark Souls 2, as we are going to learn throughout the course of this video, Dark Souls 2 is one of the games with the weakest bosses. Most Dark Souls 2 bosses just feel like nothing more than big monsters that charge right at you, and all you have to do is dodge and then swing and then dodge and then swing. Dark Souls 2 bosses are just way too simple. And it goes for quantity over quality. I mean, it has the most bosses of the series. I believe it has like 42 or something. And Ava the King's Pet is no exception. There's nothing very interesting about this boss. It's a big saber-tooth tiger that's invisible until it's not, and you just kill it. It's kind of hard, not that hard. Its arena is beautiful. Dark Souls 2 has beautiful graphics. Ava the King's Pet is going in the D tier. It's it's below mediocre. And this one is, I'm pretty sure I know what this one is, but I'm actually going to look it up to just be sure. Yes, that's right. This one is the Abhorrent Beast. This word is tripping me up. Is it abhorrent or abhorrent? Abhorrent. The abhorrent. I feel like I've never said that word out loud before. The Abhorrent Beast is a Chalice Dungeon bosses. Some of them are pretty cool. Some of them suck. In general, Chalice dungeons are really frustrating and boring. But the Abhorrent Beast is... I feel like the Chalice dungeons were made for rejected boss designs, like From wanted these to be bosses in the main game, but they just couldn't quite fit them in somehow, couldn't design a whole arena, so there's a lot of rejected bosses in the Chalice dungeons, and the Abhorrent Beast is actually, you meet it in the main game as a mini-boss. It appears if you choose to attack the suspicious man, the murderer. Right, there's a murdering guy, you find him next to a couple of dead bodies, he's like, "Oh, hello there, would you mind helping a friend out? You got a place for me to stay?" If you can choose to do his side quest and give him what he wants, and if you do, then he'll give you, I believe, beast blood pellets in exchange for killing other friendly NPCs. So those other friendly NPCs, you don't get to do their side quests anymore. And if you choose to attack this murderous guy, then he transforms into the Abhorrent Beast on top of a roof in the forest, the roof of a building. and he's pretty easy to kill because you can just stand on the other side of a doorway and like hit him from a distance. But for Chalice dungeons, he shows up as a special boss, and if I remember correctly, he has wind powers, so a few ranged attacks. I remember fighting the abhorrent beast once or twice. It didn't show up very much, and it was very hard in the Chalice dungeons because, unlike in the main game, you couldn't just stand on the other side of a door and spam at it. Of course, Chalice dungeon bosses are pretty mediocre. This one was a recycled design. It was a really hard fight, but I specifically remember that most of the time fighting the abhorrent beast, I was just running in a circle and it was chasing me, and then whenever it slowed down a little bit, I would kind of poke it and then keep running. It was pretty boring. I feel like it's on the same level as Ava. Next here, I recognize this one. This is the Adjudicator. And I've been playing Demon's Souls 2020 recently, the PS5 version. And the Adjudicator, thing about Demon's Souls bosses, they're really weird. Demon's Souls bosses are pretty in the middle. Well, maybe, I don't know. It has some good ones and some bad ones. Of course, the PS5 version has incredible graphics, and it's just awe-inspiring to get a look at these monsters, these in HD and with such great textures and models. The Adjudicator has a really interesting and fun to look at design. It's an obese, towering humanoid thing with a huge tongue and no head, and instead of a head, it has an egg on its head with some sort of golden spirit bird. It's an incredible design, but it stands there in a really tight, crowded, narrow, vertical chamber, just lashes at you with its tongue. It doesn't move or do anything unless you get too close to it, then it tries to hit you with an axe. All you gotta do to beat it is bring like 50, not even that, like 30 arrows, and just shoot arrows at the yellow bird, because the yellow bird is its weak point. There's an alternative way to beat it. You hit its belly, and then when you hit its belly enough, it trips over, and then you can hit the yellow bird from a ground level. It's not a very good boss in any way. The only thing it has going for it is a really incredible, monstrous design that's very interesting, but in terms of gameplay, I mean, all you gotta do is buy a few arrows and just spam at it. It's incredibly easy, incredibly simple. There's nothing to it. It's a pretty bad boss. What is this one? I can barely see that. I gotta look this one up. Alright, so this is not a very good picture, and it's zoomed in all the way, but this would appear to be Aldia, Scholar of the First Sin. The new boss that was added to the Scholar of the First Sin version of Dark Souls 2 on PS3 and PS4. I mean, it's on PC too. It might be on Xbox. I don't really care. You spend the whole game wondering why it's called Scholar of the First Sin until you reach the end of the game, and then it all makes sense. Oh, that's actually a really cool title. It makes sense because, well, what's the first sin? It's referring to Gwyn's lighting of the first flame. And you find that out through your discussions with Aldia throughout the game as he exposits lore. And then when you meet him 3 times and then defeat his brother Vendrick, you unlock him as the true final boss of Scholar of the First Sin. I feel like this boss this character in general adds a huge and an amazing new perspective on the game's story. I haven't played the original version of Dark Souls 2, but I assume that without this character and this boss, that the story made a lot less sense, because he really elucidates what the conflict is of the lighting of the first flame. So he has an amazing role in the story, and his ending that he's involved in, his alternate ending, the dark ending, is one of my favorite endings in the Souls series. It's definitely preferable and more fun and more thought-provoking than the other one, where you just sit in the throne and then, presumably become hollow or light the first flame somehow. Sorry, I mean link the flame. Aldia, Scholar of the First Sin, is a very fascinating character, so I give him points for that. However, Dark Souls 2 has sucky bosses, and he, even though he's a new one for this version of the game, he's no exception. All he is a head who appears out of the ground, he morphs out of the ground, and then he shoots you with fire attacks, and if you get close to him, your feet burn and you take damage. He's just a fire blob. His design's pretty cool. His lore is super cool. I'm pretty sure this is a C boss. He's really easy. He just hits you with spammy damage. You get near him, you try to melee him, you take damage. But he also can shoot you with stuff. I seem to remember he has tentacles that hit you. It's a pretty mediocre boss. Now this one is Sir Alan. I'm not sure how you would choose to pronounce that, and it's a bit of a tricky one. I'm going to say Alan could be Alone, Alane. It's probably Alan. Alan has some small but interesting part in the lore. He was some sort of mysterious figure from the Far East, from some Asian-inspired lands, who traveled to the land of the Old Iron King, and somehow mysteriously rose this Old Iron King person to power. So we don't really know what he did, but he was the man behind the Old Iron King's rise to prominence, and he helped to train the Old Iron King's Alan Knights, who were named after him. Now, Alan is remembered for certain reasons. He is remembered for he's remembered for having the single best song in all of Dark Souls 2. His song is incredible. It's catchy, it's moving, it's emotional. It's one of the best songs in the Dark Souls trilogy. His design is okay. He's just a sort of brown Eastern knight. He stands out, though, as a samurai guy. He's unique because I don't think Dark Souls has any other samurai bosses, at least none that I'm remembering off the top of my head. We'll see. His arena is really beautiful, with the sunset view outside and the shining, apparently recently waxed porcelain floor of his. You can fight him with some AI partners that you find outside that help out. I definitely remember him being one of the highlight bosses of Dark Souls 2. So, is he A or B? Well, I'm gonna have to say B. The thing holding him so high is his presentation, his song, and his arena are just incredibly beautiful, and that's kind of it. The gameplay of his battle is alright. It's kind of just more of dodging and slashing. You get really repetitive bosses with Dark Souls 2. He's a harder one. He has a really cool Easter egg. If you defeat him without taking damage, his death animation changes. He actually stabs himself in the gut and commits seppuku. So, there are some cool things about him, but you only have to beat him once, and he's a little too easy and a little too simple. So that's it. Now here's an interesting one. This is amygdala. I am aware that in English the word is pronounced amygdala, but in the game there is a voice actor who says this boss's name, and they say it like amygdala. You remember that? So, this boss I really enjoyed. It's one of the hardest bosses in Bloodborne's base game. It's an optional boss. You have to beat it, however, to unlock a certain type of chalice dungeon. It is very difficult. It deals loads of damage. It has long range with its lanky arms. I mean, it's huge. It's a Goliath, way bigger than you. It can blast lasers at you. Like I said, huge range, has various attacks. It has a slam attack that causes shock waves. It has a jump attack that would often one-shot kill me. Very hard to dodge jump attack. In the base game, it was very hard to find people to help you beat this boss. However, in Chalice Dungeons, you would also see this Amygdala boss, and you could quite often get co-op players to help you by connecting to your world, and they'll help you defeat it in Chalice Dungeons. This is one of my favorite Bloodborne bosses. I don't know if this is a popular opinion, it may not be. It's very hard. It gave me probably a greater challenge than any other of Bloodborne's base game bosses. I spent like a whole day practicing it, I remember, just practicing it. Has a ton of HP. It has a phase 2 where it tears its freaking forearms off and starts using its own arms as weapons. Has a pretty good song. It's a fantastic boss. A really beautiful level that it's in. I like it in every way. It can be a little frustrating, but it's such a fun and unique and memorable challenge. Really good one. This one, yes, that's right. This one is the Ancient Dragon from Dark Souls 2. This boss is a secret super boss which appears in the main story as an NPC and becomes a boss if you attack it. So it's just a friendly NPC who shows up in the main story to give you a key item. If you attack it, it becomes a boss. It has a health bar and everything. I think this boss's role in the story is amazing, and I mean, I love it. I think it, with the DS2, has really good graphics, and it just looks cool in the game. Its level is pretty cool that it exists in. And like I'm saying, its role in the main story is just really interesting. In particular, it has a quote that was my favorite line in the whole game, when the Ancient Dragon says, "The curse of life is the curse of want," which was the most poignant possible way to sum up Dark Souls 2's really beautiful and interesting story. You spend so long wondering what the nature of the undead curse is, why do humans have to suffer, and this immortal being comes along, scoffs at you, goes like, "Another foolish traveler," and all this ancient being has to say is the curse of life is the curse of want, and then it gives you an item. It gives you what you need to see. It allows you to see into the memories of the past in order to prove its point. This boss, I just think it's one of the coolest characters in the story, and I think Dark Souls 2 has the best story of the trilogy. I mean, maybe it's as good as 1's, but anyway. In terms of gameplay, sadly, this boss doesn't quite excite as much. It is huge. It's gargantuan. Seems like every Souls game needs to have its dragon super boss. And I mean, it's just really big. It hits you easily, it has a large hitbox, it has this very hard to dodge attack where it breathes fire on the ground, so it's best to bring a ring of fire protection when you're fighting this boss. It has a lot of HP, so it's remembered as a very difficult super boss, and there's a lot of people who can't beat it without getting help from summons. It's an okay boss. Yeah. It's okay. You know? C tier. Yeah. So I only beat it once, and it was like, it was hard at first, but then when I put on that flame ring, it wasn't so bad at all. Alright, now what is this one? This would happen to be the Watchdog of the Old Lords from the Bloodborne Chalice Dungeons. I don't know if you can tell that, I don't know if you can even see it. That's such a small picture, it looks like there's something in the way there, maybe that's a player. The Watchdog of the Old Lords is one of the hardest Chalice Dungeon bosses. It has a charge attack, it has a lava puking attack, it's really fast, it slams into you with its head, it has a pretty cool design. There's not much to say about it except that it is one of the hardest Chalice Dungeon bosses. My strategy for it was to get a really long sword with a beast slaying upgrade and just very carefully tap its nose with the edge of the sword and then run away. And I just kept like luring it towards me, and as it walked towards me I would tap its nose with the edge of the sword and then keep my distance and try to dodge everything it did. I don't know, it's a pretty middling, mediocre boss. It's just really freaking hard. It doesn't feel unfair, but it's not that interesting. Now what is it? Gonna have to check this one again. So this one is the Ancient Wyvern. Yep, my mind's set. This has, for a long time, been one of my least favorite bosses in any of these games. I was really, like, insulted when I first fought the Ancient Wyvern. Well, actually, no, I take that back. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, this could be fun. You know, I was on the ground and I started wailing at it. I thought it would be like a normal ground-based fight. I was like, oh, hey, I found the game's dragon super boss. Cool. And then I found out there's an alternate, there's this whole path. So I was like, oh, okay, what's down this long path? Let's find out what's over there before I kill this boss. Maybe it's important. So you go down the long winding path and there's a lot of enemies in your way. A lot of strong enemies, as a matter of fact, and they're really hard to get around. I died multiple times to these serpent men who stand in the Ancient Wyvern's arena and just spam at you. But you finally make it past them and there's a wooden platform you stand on. Okay, so you're on the wooden platform. The Ancient Wyvern just stands there and looks at you completely still. You could be there for an hour. The Ancient Wyvern won't move a muscle. It won't make any move towards you. Then all you have to do is do a drop attack on its head, and the boss instantly dies. This is a Dark Souls boss that you kill in one hit. Ridiculous. I felt like it was against the whole spirit of the game. You didn't give me an actual fight. You gave me some like weird sort of survival gauntlet gimmick. And it dies in one hit. There's no challenge to that besides making it past these serpent men, and that's not fun. It's a terrible boss. You could have given us an actual fight with a dragon. It wouldn't have been that much harder. You could have just programmed that. You didn't have to make this whole obstacle course. This could have been this game's Calamite. Ridiculous. I think Dark Souls 3 has many bosses that are too easy. This one is the Armor Spider. I still have not had time to play the original PS3 version of Demon's Souls. I intend to, but you know how hard it is to play too many games at once. So I'm not totally sure how different the PS3 version is from the PS5 version. I know it was remade from the ground up. Of course, the visuals are completely different. Some of the physics might be too. I'm going to assume that the gameplay, the boss gameplay, is more or less identical, aside from some smoothing out. And the Armor Spider, first of all, what a generic name. And what a generically made boss. This is not a very interesting boss at all. It has, in the PS5 version, it has a really cool design that actually looks nothing like this. It's more red. But aside from just looking cool, it's like a nothing boss. It's really hard, sure, but it's so uninteresting. You're in this little hallway, and it's taking up the other end of the hallway, so you can't walk past it. It just shoots at you. It shoots fireballs and webs that slow you down, and you have to shoot back. It's not... Getting close is dangerous. You can get close, but then you're guaranteed to get hit. What a boring boss. This one. This is Isshin Ashina... Oh, my mistake. This is Emma the Gentle Blade and Ishin Ashina. This is a duo boss, and Sekiro has many of the best bosses of the series. This is very likely S tier. First, you have a plot twist fight against... Well, this happens if you choose to get the bad ending. So this is the bad ending route. First, you fight Emma in a plot twist. You didn't know she could fight, but she comes out with a sword, and she's pretty challenging, but she only has one phase. She's very fun, and she has beautiful music, but when you kill her, it's pretty emotional. You put your sword directly in the middle of her throat, and Ishin Ashina walks out. Of course, he's also the true final boss, but he shows up as the final boss of this bad ending, too. He uses flame attacks. He has 2 phases. He's very, very challenging. I mean, he's a deserving final boss. Not as hard as his other boss battle. Is a pretty great fight. I don't even know what to say. It's just solid gameplay. Sekiro has the most complex combat, and it's always a delight to engage in a sword fight. Very fun game. This is one of its... I mean, all the bosses are amazing. This is one of the really, really good ones from Sekiro. This would be the Beast-Possessed Soul. The Beast-Possessed Soul is, well, it's a Chalice Dungeon boss from Bloodborne. It's nothing. It doesn't matter. It's just a reused, generic enemy from the base game. It's very easy. It's a little werewolf guy. I guess he's like 9 feet tall, and he has pyromancy attacks. Just boring. Not that hard. What is this one? I can't tell what that is. Okay, so this is the Belfry Gargoyles from Dark Souls 2. Of course, they are a reference to the Bell Gargoyles in Dark Souls 1. Belfry Gargoyles, it's a swarm boss, whereas you fight the Bell Gargoyles in... there are 2 of them. The Belfry Gargoyles, they show up in a large swarm. There's a bunch of them. They're all pretty weak. And the same exact song plays from Dark Souls 1, which is an interesting callback. Although I guess it would have been cooler if they had remixed it. It's an okay boss. Yeah. I mean... It's kind of medium difficulty. It has no place in the story. It's just a reference to Dark Souls 1, and a fun one at that. They made it a lot different. They look very different. They act very different. It's okay, boss. See, how am I supposed to tell what boss this is from an armpit? These pictures have been crunched up by the Tier Maker website. I see. So this is the Blood-Starved Beast. And if you look closely, I guess that's actually its face there, with the rag over it. The Blood-Starved Beast is a very early boss in Bloodborne's base game that also appears in Chalice Dungeons. It has poison attacks. It's very, very fast, hard to dodge because of its utter speed. It's weak to fire. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. It's not like best of the best, but it's definitely good. Yeah, more fun than Sir Alon, sure. Blood-Starved Beast, pretty memorable early boss. Pretty good introduction to the game. Everything about it is solid. It's just not like, it doesn't do anything crazy excellent. It's a fun fight against a very fast, poisonous, darn little thing. This thing is the Bloodletting Beast from the Bloodborne Chalice Dungeons. It does not appear in the base game. I remember liking this. It's a giant, like probably 20-foot tall, hunchbacked, headless werewolf. Pretty friggin' cool. I think sometimes a worm comes out of it. I can't remember if that's guaranteed for every fight or if it's just occasional. It's, I liked it. I thought this was one of the highlights of Chalice Dungeons. Just, wow, really cool, very hard boss. It's huge, it's hard to get away from, because, it has such a long stride. It's one of the better Chalice Dungeon bosses. This boss is the Taurus Demon from Dark Souls 1. Of course, this is an early boss. very early. You fight it on a bridge in the Undead Burg. It's pretty simple. It's just a big minotaur that hops out and tries to hit you with its axe. It's on a very narrow arena, so you can fall off. There are three alternative ways to fight it. You can fight it on the bridge, which is very narrow, and so you're at risk of falling off if it knocks you off. Second way is to climb up a ladder and then do a jump attack on it for tremendous damage. I mean, that's obviously my preferred way. Third way, and this is a really good one too, is to climb up the ladder and stay there, causing it to hop up and fight you on more open ground, giving you a much wider arena where you're less likely to fall off. It's a good boss. A tier. It's just a good introduction to the game, has good music. It's in a beautiful area. It's just, yeah, simple boss, good introduction to the game. This is the Bed of Chaos. Don't need to look it up to identify this one. Bed of friggin' Chaos, dude. I'm sure we're all aware the Bed of Chaos is plagued by cut content. Everyone knows, everyone who's played this game can tell that Lost Izalith was supposed to be a bigger and more complicated level, and instead Lost Izalith turned out sucking, and so did its main boss. It's a shame. It has one of the most beautiful designs in the whole franchise. It's a crazy, mind-blowing looking boss. But look, it has the longest run back in series history, and it has this weird gimmick where it causes holes in the ground to appear randomly, so you just don't try not to fall in the holes, but you gotta go to one side, hit a little magic tree branch, and then its wing pops up. You go to the other side, hit a magic tree branch, its other wing pops up. Then there are all these holes in the ground, don't fall in, you jump across a gap and then hit a baby and it dies. It has pretty good music. It's a terrible boss. Terrible. It has good role in the lore though. This next boss is the Stray Demon. Now, the Stray Demon is an optional boss in Dark Souls 1. It's hidden, it's a secret, you find it, it's also a surprise boss. You fall through the floor in a secret area and then you encounter it. It's identical to another boss in the game in every way except that it has more health and deals more damage. However, if you beat it, you get a very valuable piece of loot. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it except it's completely unoriginal. So, this is Seath the Scaleless, a main story boss in Dark Souls 1. You fight him in the Crystal Cave, I mean. He's okay. Has some of the best music in the game, has one of the best designs in the game, although I never understood what was going on with his lower tentacles. I mean, when have you ever seen a tentacled dragon? That's kind of weird. He has a weird lower section. Of course, he's very important in the lore. He's just an alright boss. Not excellent. You gotta hit a crystal before he can take any damage. He's pretty easy. He has some wide area of effect attacks. It's an okay boss. What is this one? This boss is Pinwheel. I think most people in the community don't like Pinwheel. I'm not giving him an F. Let's go... D feels really fair for Pinwheel, right? It's one of the easiest bosses in Dark Souls 1. It has a kind of... Like, people... Why is this boss there? Why is it in this game? It has a weird design. It's not super obvious why... Like, what role it fits in the story. I think it's like leeching power off of Gravelord Nito. It's a very easy boss that just clones itself, and you gotta hit the real version. We've seen this gimmick before. It's D tier. Seems fair to me. Executioner Smough and Dragon Slayer Ornstein. Oh yeah. Don't we all love this boss? I mean, it's just one of the most brilliant bosses in the series. It's from Dark Souls 1. It's exactly midway through the game, and it's the hardest boss in Dark Souls 1. Just very cognitively engaging, especially if you're trying to beat it all alone. There are There's one giant guy chasing you and the small fast guy. They all do a ton of damage. You have to figure out how to manipulate them, so you're constantly running away from one while battling the other. Depending on which one you choose to kill, it changes their second phase. It's a very good boss. Also, great music. Gravelord Nito. A seems fair to me. Good music. Kind of weird how there are skeletons in its arena that constantly chase you. And how those skeletons get killed by Gravelord Nito's own attacks, but then they just come right back. That feels like a weird design choice. There's a lot of weird design choices in Dark Souls 1. Actually, all of the Souls games, because they all have so much cut content. Some weird design choices in this boss, but I mean, I remember liking it a lot. It's pretty medium difficulty. It's an okay one. Moonlight Butterfly. Moonlight Butterfly. I don't like this one. I mean, it's okay, it's not very offensive, but you're just on a bridge, you can only move one way or the other. It shoots lasers at you, you can only hit it when it decides to land on the bridge. It's really boring. It has good music, but that music is reused for another boss in the game. It's just a boring boss, and you only get, like, what, an ember for beating it? This is Tower Knight, right? No, I have to look this. Okay, this one is Iron Golem. Not to be confused with Minecraft's Iron Golem. Iron Golem is a pretty good boss from Dark Souls 1. Pretty freaking cool. It has a cool design. It's very imposing. Once again, you fight it on a bridge. That's a recurring theme, I guess. Has good music, of course. It's in a very fun level, Sen's Fortress. You get a shortcut right to it. It's very challenging, has a wind attack. It's hard to dodge because it has such a long reach. It can knock you off the bridge, but it's not as likely as the Taurus Demon. Screw it. I like this one more than Alon and Seath. This one's getting A tier. Yeah. Also has a very cool weapon you unlock for killing it. It's just very good. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. I don't know. I mean, of course we all love Gwyn's role in the story, and he has one of the most classic songs in the game. It's such a good song, it's become a meme. Everyone knows, though, he's just unfortunately too easy for a final boss, and that's because he has just one lame weakness. He's very weak to parrying. If only they had fixed that in the remastered version, you know? It's just... he's a good boss in every way. He's fun to duel against, and he's very emotional. You're like, oh, this is what has become of the most magnificent person to ever live. He has that one big weakness holding him back. Yeah, he's about as good as the other two guys. It's such a lame weakness, just making it an anticlimactic boss. Great Grey Wolf Sif. Very good one. Yeah. Maybe even F. Yeah, let's go with S tier. Yeah, dude. It's a giant friggin' wolf in a graveyard with a sword in its mouth. It's so cool. Great music. Great role in the story. There's a very good couple of Easter eggs with this boss where it starts limping when it's at low health, and if you make other decisions earlier in the story, then it has an alternate cutscene. Fantastic boss. I really like it. I really like the character Sif. Gaping Dragon. Oh yeah. A tier. We all love the Gaping Dragon's design, one of the most visually iconic enemies in video game history, with the mouth in its chest. Just magnificent. Fun way to end this level. It's a surprise, a shock, yet it's also fitting for the level you've been through. Classic boss. Very fun. Nothing really wrong with it. It's medium difficulty the first time you beat it, then in New Games Plus it always feels pretty easy. Four Kings. Dude, I feel like the Four Kings are mediocre. Very cool looking Final Fantasy logo looking things that are important in the story, but still doesn't really matter. It's just like there's a bunch of the same guy, and because there are so many of them, they're really hard to dodge. It doesn't matter which one you hit, because they all share the same health bar. It's a lame boss. Yeah, mediocre boss. What is this one? I see. You might not be able to tell, but this is supposed to be the Demon Fire Sage. Demon Fire Sage is just a flaming variant of the Asylum Demon, this guy here. Demon Fire Sage. I don't care for this one. Not at all. It's just, you fought this guy before, but now it's flaming. Okay. Nothing else to it. It's pretty easy. Here we are. Dark Sun Gwendolyn. This is a secret boss. You don't have to kill this one. If you choose not to kill him, then you can work for him instead and get some rewards, but you also have to kill him for 100% completion of the game for a trophy. Yeah, he's an okay boss. He's one of the gimmicky ones. He has good music, of course, which he shares with Moonlight Butterfly. He has an interesting arena. It's never-ending. All he does is run away from you while spamming at you with magic attacks, so just bring a shield that works against magic and just chase him and hit him. It's pretty lame. I mean, I like the arena, I like his design and his music and his role as a character in the story. I like his lore, his voice acting. Mediocre boss. Crossbreed Priscilla, huh? Crossbreed Priscilla is going in B tier. Crossbreed Priscilla, not much to say. She's a waifu, people like her. She's one of the easy bosses of Dark Souls 1. You don't have to kill her, she's completely optional. In fact, she even asks you not to kill her and lets you leave. Unless you hit her. Then she becomes a boss, so I guess in that way she's similar to the Ancient Dragon. She's an okay boss. She's just easy, she has good music. Of course, Dark Souls 1 has a great soundtrack. She wields a scythe. She has a very interesting design. Never seen anything like it. She kind of looks like a bug person, but she's supposed to be related to dragons, so she has a draconic tail. She goes invisible. Very easy boss, but still somehow impresses. Just pretty cool. She's pretty cool. This is Chaos Witch Quelaag, who is a good boss. Yeah, she's a good one. I don't think she's as good as these guys, no. No. But hey, Chaos Witch Quelaag, she's very shocking the first time you encounter her. Dark Souls 1 is very good at surprising you and building suspense, that's for sure. It probably does that better than the other two games, I would say. So the first time you see Chaos Witch Quelaag, you're like, whoa! They put this in a video game. This is a real thing. I mean, it's very surprising the first time you see it. What with the beautiful woman here and the whole spider body here, and she, disgusting. She's a fire-themed boss at the end of Blighttown. Pretty good boss. I like it. Centipede Demon. Centipede Demon is also good. How good, though? Better than Quelaag? Better than Crossbreed Priscilla? Nah, no, B tier's fair. I like the Centipede Demon a lot. You fight it in a pit of lava. It's another fire-themed boss. It has a crazy design. I mean, it's hard to tell what's going on with it because it's just a blob of a monster. Has all these appendages. You can't even see what it is in that image there. All you see is red. There's an Easter egg where if you cut off one of its appendages, I guess this may not be considered an Easter egg, but it feels like one. I mean, I didn't see it on my first playthrough. You cut off one of its appendages, and I believe it drops the ring that allows you to walk in lava. I don't know, it drops something. Hope I remember that right. It's a good boss. The Centipede Demon has no role in the story. Well, I mean, it's mentioned in one flavor text passage. Like it's possibly it was either born from the ring that it drops, or it's the brother of the Daughters of Chaos. That was my interpretation. Here's another fire boss that just blends in with the other red fire bosses. What is this one? Oh, of course, this is the Ceaseless Discharge. Ceaseless Discharge, not a very good one. No, not a good one at all. It is a giant towering lava monster. Actually, this may be the brother of the Daughters of Chaos. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm mixing these two up. But hey, you fight them in the same location, both in the Demon Ruins. Ceaseless Discharge. Look, dude. I mean, it looks cool because it's a giant monster. It doesn't hit you until you pick up its sister's clothes, which are resistant to fire. It has a big arena where there's a safe spot, and all you have to do is hide in the safe spot, and then it'll try to slam you with its arm, and then you hit its arm, and then eventually it dies. It just keeps trying to hit you with its arm, and then you hit its arm, and then it dies. And logically, its arm would just fall off, right? How did you just kill the whole thing? I mean, you've just been hitting its arm. This is such a lame boss. You just take turn. It just hits you, and then you move out of the way, and then you attack its arm. It's boring. Capra Demon. Ugh, Capra Demon, worst boss in this game. Ugh, Capra Demon. Oh my gosh, where do we start with the Capra Demon? From the most cramped arena in the whole series, probably. I mean, maybe a few off exceptions somewhere down here, but tiny little arena, okay? It has 2 dogs in the arena who every time will attack you before you see them, because you enter the door to the arena, and before you can even see your surroundings, you're hit by a dog. So you have to hold your shield up or start preemptively moving out of the way of these dogs. Okay, and then because it's so cramped, you're going to be ganged on by both of the dogs, who aren't very strong, by the way, but you're being ganged on by the dogs and the Capra Demon with both of its swords, who's a very fast boss and deals a lot of damage. This is an extremely hard boss for early game. What you have to do, the actual strategy for beating this boss is so lame. You go up these stairs here, you can see in this image, you kill the dogs as they chase you up the stairs, then you hide on a little friggin' platform up here that you're not even supposed to stand on, but you can, and you can either shoot the Capra Demon or, like, very carefully try to poke it and dodge its sword swings. It's so boring. It's so dumb. It's so frustrating. One of the worst bosses in the series. It's technically skippable. The Taurus and the Capra Demons, you're supposed to beat them, kill them both, but if I'm not mistaken, if you start the game with the Thieves' Keys, you can open the door to the depths early, so you never have to beat the Capra Demon. Am I correct in that? I can't remember if the Thieves' Keys open the door to the depths. I think they do. Obviously, this one would be the Bell Gargoyles. Bell Gargoyle and Bell Gargoyle. It's a pretty good boss. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yep, B tier. Bell Gargoyles, there are 2 of them. One of them has more health than the other, I think. Pretty similar to the Man-Eater bosses from Demon Souls and the Belfry Gargoyles in Dark Souls 2. This boss has good music, cool design. Of course, they're just stone gargoyles, so they're not that out of the blue. They're not that crazy like some of these other insane-looking bosses are. A couple of gargoyles, they're not that hard, medium difficulty. Hard part is having to fight 2 of them at once, so make sure to kill the one that appears first quickly. That's about it. You can cut off their tail to unlock a secret weapon. It's just a good boss for early Dark Souls 1. Asylum Demon. Asylum Demon is the first boss of Dark Souls 1, and it's a good one. It's just a really cool introduction to this game. It's very easy, of course. It's just a big fat thing that hits you with its club, and you gotta hit it back. It has a very huge hitbox, so it's an easy target. I mean, it's a good boss, but the whole point of it is to shock people, like to make them go, I can't believe the first boss of this game is this hard. But compared to other stuff we see in the series, it's nothing. But for newbies who have never heard of Dark Souls before and then they boot it up and see this for the first time, they're in for a surprise, because they're probably going to die and they're going to be like, whoa, this is a pretty tough game. Next, Knight Artorias. Knight Artorias, wow. One of the best bosses in the Dark Souls series. He is an amazing character in the game. Unfortunately, he's surrounded by a lot of cut content. He was supposed to have a much more direct role in his story, and he was supposed to have dialogue even, but still, when you meet this boss for the first time, you've already heard about him a lot, and it's a cool plot twist to find out he's been corrupted. He's very fun to fight. Very fast, hyper. He has these, attacks where he does a front flip, and you have to dodge him in a rhythmic sort of way. He has a lot of health, does a lot of damage, serious boss, good music, very effective role in the story. I wish we could see more of him. I wish that content wasn't cut. Good boss. Black Dragon Calamite. That's a good one. Yeah. Black Dragon Calamite is the secret and kind of hard to find super boss at the end of Dark Souls 1. This is a DLC campaign called Artorias of the Abyss. Black Dragon Calamite is certainly a fun boss. Big open arena. I love this game's soundtrack. He has a cool design. He has one eye. Very challenging. Just a hard dragon. I like fighting him. He's pretty great. Manus, Father of the Abyss. I feel like B is fair for this one. He's pretty good, Manus. He has some confusing lore role that was hard for me to figure out. I kind of got an idea of what he's supposed to be. Spoiler alert for Dark Souls 2, he's actually quite important in Dark Souls 2's lore. Of course, he has a really striking design. His arena has many interesting things about it. So does this level. It's a very interesting level that is something that I haven't seen very many games that have an area like the Chasm of the Abyss. It's just pretty cool. He has good music. He has a great design. As for his gameplay, he's not that fun of a boss. He's alright. Very challenging, just hard to avoid. He has such range to him. I mean, he doesn't really give you a break, and he has combo attacks. You can summon Sif for this fight as an NPC. You can summon this character as an NPC to come help you defeat this guy, and that's super cool. Very, very cool indeed. Sanctuary Guardian, maybe you'd be surprised. I actually like Sanctuary Guardian more than Manus. It's basically a chimera, just a regular old chimera. You can see it's a white lion with eagle wings and ram horns, and I think it has a scorpion tail. That's right. It's a fun boss. It's very like Manus and Artorias. The Sanctuary Guardian is also a DLC boss that's very fast. It deals a super high amount of knockback damage. So I used a very bulky shield to fight this one. It has electric attacks. You fight it in a beautiful little pond. And if you cut off its tail, you get a special weapon. I just think this is a cool boss. I remember finding it really fun. And very hard. Very hard. I mean, one of the hardest. Sanctuary Guardian, for me, was harder than Artorias or Calamite or Manus. For me, the hardest bosses in this game were Ornstein and Small, Four Kings, and Sanctuary Guardian. Very tough. But rewarding. You have to go through the Sanctuary Guardian to make it to, the Sanctuary, where you end up meeting Artorias. Oh boy, look who we got here. Brain Sucker. This should not be a boss. The Brain Sucker is a Bloodborne Chalice Dungeon boss. It's a joke. It's a gag. It's just one of the weakest enemies from the base game given a boss nameplate. It's nothing. It is pure nothingness. You kill it in like 2 hits. The friggin' brain sucker. And it's just a mind flayer, and that's all it is. It's just a mind flayer from Dungeons and Dragons, not original even. I can't tell what this one's supposed to be. I don't see its face. Ah, well, unfortunately this one's face is hidden. But this is Burnt Ivory King. My favorite boss in Dark Souls 2. Incredible. This is the most... Obviously, who would argue this is the coolest boss in Dark Souls 2? This is a DLC boss. You meet it in Frozen Aleum Lois. And this is actually the king whose pet is Ava, who is the first one we raided. The Burnt Ivory King, man. Well, he has the coolest arena in the whole series, right? The Old Chaos. This huge pit of flames and roots and ruins where you hear this terrible sort of screeching, squealing noise. It really strikes you. And the unique thing about the Burnt Ivory King's actual fight is its gameplay. In gameplay, it's different from most other bosses, because rather than a one-on-one duel against a big ol' monster, the Burnt Ivory King plays like one army against another. You have a team of NPCs, most of whom are Lois Knights, who travel down into the Old Chaos with you, and before you meet the Burnt Ivory King, you have to fight his army, the Charred Lois Knights. So you got white versus black here, it's like chess. The Burnt Ivory King, fun fact about him, his voice samples were taken from a certain really weird disco song that's kind of depressing. You should look it up. I forget what it's. Totally forgot what it's called. It's just completely striking how it has such a riveting arena. It's this grandiose presentation. The sound design in this level is incredible. You have your army of Lois Knights and other NPCs fighting the Charred Lois Knights and the Burnt Ivory King. It's a very hard boss. Definitely the best boss in Dark Souls 2. This one is the Celestial Emissary. Am I correct? Yep, the Celestial Emissary. This is a weird one. It's like... This was a weird one. I couldn't tell what FromSoft was going for when I fought this. Because you're just in a garden. Yeah, you're in a garden, and it's full of these alien-looking dudes. I guess you can call them emissaries. And then you hit them, and nothing happens until you hit one of them, who turns out to be the special one, and then it grows into a giant, and then you just kill it, because it's really easy. It's really easy. This is a bad boss. However, it is the gateway to a better boss. This one is Champion Gunder from... this is a secret boss in Dark Souls 3. It's kind of hard to find, actually. Well, no. I take it back. It's not hard to find. It's just beyond an illusory wall, and then you walk a little bit, and you find it. I didn't understand this boss. Well, what I didn't understand was its level. I mean, personally, I hate Dark Souls 3's story, and I just didn't think that the Untended Graves had a place in the lore that I found interesting. I didn't actually get it at all. It's a very nonsensical story that this game tells. It doesn't even try to piece itself together coherently. Gunder himself, Champion Gunder, was fun, although I don't like his level, the Untended Graves, his region. Not that hard, just like a guy with an axe. You're fighting a guy with an axe, he's got a lot of moves. Yeah, he's okay. Champions Gravetender and Gravetender Wolf. Not so good. This boss has better music than it deserves, but it's just, you fight a guy, you fight like a regular old guy, he's really weak, and then you kill him, and you just fight a large wolf, not as long as Sif, but pretty large wolf who's really fast, yet somehow not strong. Fast usually equates to strong in this game, such as with Sanctuary Guardian, Artorias, Manus. I can't think of any other examples that are already here. But the wolf is like, it has really low HP and doesn't do all that much damage. This is another example of Dark Souls 3 having bosses that are too easy. This boss feels like it was supposed to be more, but it was cut content. The level around it is beautiful, and it drops something very important when you beat it. It's a junk boss. It's a piece of junk. This is the Cleric Beast from Bloodborne, one of the first bosses of Bloodborne. This one is optional, but even though it's optional, it is the first one that most players see. I think. I could be wrong about that, because it's just so early in the game. It's a pretty good one. Pretty good. Of course, iconic sound design. If you've ever heard it scream, it's such a cool looking boss. It's one of the mascots of Bloodborne. Yeah, let's give this one an A. Not that hard. Pretty hard for early game, but you level up a little bit, you get used to it pretty fast. It's just a huge beast that you fight. So, yeah. This one is called Corrupted Monk. However, it has the same name as the one right next to it, which is why they've been placed together here. They are two different bosses. This one is I think some people call it True Monk. This is the Corrupted Monk in the castle shrine area. What is it called? Darn, I can't remember the name of the huge shrine temple at the end of Sekiro. But, yeah, this is a great boss. Sekiro has amazing sword play, amazing combat mechanics. This boss has, I think, 3 phases. Just super satisfying to fight on that bridge up there. Hey, another bridge boss. How many of these do you fight on bridges? Very satisfying boss. And very hard. And each of its 3 phases is different from the last. This version of the Corrupted Monk, it is a separate boss. It actually plays a lot differently. And it only has 1 phase, I'm pretty sure. But to counterbalance that, it has a ton of HP. It's an okay one. Yeah, I mean, it's okay by Sekiro standards, but by the standards of all these games, it's fantastic. Because Sekiro's bosses are so good. So, on average, they're so much better than Dark Souls or Bloodborne bosses. And this version of the Corrupted Monk, it's like a ghost that you fight in a graveyard at the bottom of a pit. It's quite different from the other Corrupted Monk, but it only has 1 phase, and it just kind of feels like recycled content that they, had the same character fight you twice as a boss. Sekiro doesn't have very many bosses, and what bosses it does have, a lot of them are just reused, unfortunately. Covetous Demon. Geez, we're still in the seas. Maybe I should go faster. We're still in the freaking seas. And I've been recording for like an hour and a half, and we're still not halfway done. Yeah, maybe I should go faster. Covetous Demon, really generic, freaking extremely easy boss in Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, like I said, goes for quantity over quality. This is not a very good one. It's way too easy and generic. It's just a big monster. Crystal Sage. I hate the Crystal Sage. This is a Dark Souls 3 boss. Dark Souls 3 bosses are way too easy. This one's no exception. It just tries to hit you with ranged magic attacks that are very easy to dodge. And you just kill it. It clones itself. Yeah, we've seen that before. Where's the other boss? There's a pinwheel. A lot of bosses clone themselves. You're lame. You suck, Crystal Sage. You're just like a whiz. It's just a whiz robe from Zelda. Curse Rotted Greatwood has an interesting place in the story if you read the flavor text. Very, very fun design, of course. It's a tree with all these limbs and these fleshy protrusions filled with pus. It's like a boss that visually stands out. I like this one, but it's just, again, too easy. Dark Souls boss is too easy. I'll give it a B. I wish it were harder. That's it. It's just, you hit its pus sacks, you hit it like 4 pus sacks, and then it just drops dead. It's so easy. It can barely even hit you because it's so slow. What? Dancer of the Boreal Valley. It's a cool design. Has cool music. Its arena has glitches where attacking the furniture sets it on fire even if you're not fighting the boss and you just happen to set foot in the arena. And somehow they never fix that. Like, you can update the game. When did this come out? 2018? You can update the game to fix that fire glitch. It's too easy. This boss is too easy. Is it as bad as these guys? Yes. Yep, this is a D tier boss, the Dancer. Wish it were harder. Dark Beast Parl from Bloodborne. This is a optional boss. There are 2 different routes to go to fight it, but either way it appears in the same arena, and it's a very solid one. Yeah, it has electric attacks. It's just, it's a huge, sorta canine electric monster with a cool skull face, and you get a cool thing for beating it. Yeah, it's a cool boss. Nothing really wrong with it. It was fun. Ooh boy, Dark Eater Midir, huh? Yeah. My favorite boss on Dark Souls 3. My whole major complaint with Dark Souls 3, I mean, there's multiple complaints and gripes I have to make with that game, but one of my biggest ones was the boss is too easy. And Dark Eater Midir is essentially the only thing that challenges that notion. I mean, one of the hardest bosses in any Souls game. Dark Eater Midir is crazy. It's hard to dodge attacks. Lots of HP. He has a second phase. He has essentially no role in the story. Very limited story involvement. But he's a secret boss in the Ringed City DLC. Such grandiose presentation with the way he fans his wings out and this loud, blaring, iconic music. Such an exciting boss. I'm glad I beat him without summons, because I feel like summons are part of what just drains the challenge from Dark Souls 3. Because it's so easy to get a connection in that game compared to all the others. It's ridiculous. There should be a soul level function like in Dark Souls 2. Love Dark Eater Midir. Dark Lurker. Dark Lurker is a boss that I quite enjoy from Dark Souls 2. This is a secret boss. It's one of the most hard to find bosses in Souls. You have to beat 3 secret optional dungeons, and then as your reward for beating them, well, you get multiple rewards, and one of them is that you get to face this boss. Pretty fun boss. Has an okay design. It hits you with magic attacks, floats around. A second version of it appears at one point, and you gotta hit both of them. Yeah, I like this boss. It's just a magic guy. I remember finding it fun. Okay, now let's remember, I'm trying to go faster here, because I'm taking too long recording, and you know, that's going to take up a lot of space on my computer and make the video harder to render. Anyway, speed it up a little. Dig into the Deep. Terrible boss from Dark Souls 3. Way too easy. It's just a swarm of priests that you just hit, and then there's a special one that's glowing, and you just hit the special one. It's so boring. Who likes Dark Souls 3? I mean, who thinks this is fun boss design? There's nothing exciting about this boss. You just hit the glowing guy. Jeez. Oh boy. You may not be able to tell, but this is the Demon in Pain and Demon... Oh, sorry. Demon in Pain, Demon from Below, and Demon Prince. And man, is this a fantastic boss. From Dark Souls 3, the Ringed City DLC, which has the hardest bosses in Dark Souls 3. So the deal with this boss is there are 2 very, very strong intimidating looking, ferocious, and identical demons, the Demon in Pain and Demon from Below. You just have to kill one of them. Then when you kill the second, they fuse together, and from the corpse of the second rises the Demon Prince, a much harder second phase. Very fun boss. Yeah, everything about this boss is pretty good. It's a fire-themed boss. This is, hey, on the subject of flaming demons, Demon of Hatred. Oh yeah. Oh yeah! Oh, the Demon of Hatred. This is one of my favorite bosses in the whole series. It's so much fun. It's also probably the hardest, one of the hardest. Demon of Hatred, incredibly challenging secret Sekiro super boss. Major role in the story, although it is optional. Extremely hard. If I remember correctly, it has 4 phases. In each phase, it starts using new attacks and gets faster. It has a lot of HP. You feel like a mosquito fighting it. You feel like you can barely do anything. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to have very high mobility. You're constantly running around. It chases you in circles. It tries to hit you with its flaming arm. The Demon of Hatred, one of my favorite bosses in video games ever. I had so much fun. He's so hard. I love the challenge. Apparently, I've heard there's a way to cheese this boss. Don't bother. It's very satisfying beating him legit after practicing. But you gotta practice a lot. This one is the Demon of Song from Dark Souls 2. This boss's design is really cool. Let's give it a beat. Very cool design. Not much to it other than its cool design. You hit it when it exposes its face from out of its shell. It's pretty easy. Dirty Colossus. Yeah, Dirty Colossus. Another thing about the Demon of Song, it actually sings the song of the level that it's in, which is cool when you find that out. Dirty Colossus, dude. I've been playing Demon Souls recently after I got my PS5, and this boss looks cool with the good graphics, but there's nothing to it. It just goes down so easy. I don't understand why it was so easy. I quickly beat it on my first try, and maybe it'll be harder in New Game Plus, but I still feel like there's nothing to this boss. It was weaker than some non-boss enemies. This is, Old Dragons of the Tree and Divine Dragon. The first phase, fighting the Old Dragons of the Tree, sucks. Here's just another swarm boss. You just fight a bunch of identical looking things. And the second phase, where you face off against the Divine Dragon, is like a unique case of a Sekiro boss that's really easy and is just going for cinematics over challenge. It's one of the only bosses that's not included in the boss rush mode, probably because the developers acknowledge that it barely counts. It's just too easy. You're gonna first try it every time. Why would you bother putting it in the boss rush? It's a very cool looking boss with a giant sword, it's lightning attacks. Has a very cool face. It's also one of 3 characters in the game that's missing their left arm. What is there to say? It's just a very cinematic boss, but has no meat to it. It's not hard enough. Dragon God. What a straight to the point name, Dragon God. Dragon God is, Dragon God. Dragon God, it's fun to say. F tier. Yeah, it's a shame. This boss looks so cool in the PS5 version. It's used in the intro cutscene for the game. It's such an amazing design. Such a terrible boss. It's like the Bed of Chaos. Which one of these? This one's Bed of Chaos. You just you chase it, and it attacks you, and you dodge its attacks, and you gotta lure it into punching some boulders to get it out of your way. You gotta stealth through it. It's just like a really lame stealth section gimmick boss. Not fun at all. Not fun at all. And it's not easy to figure out what to do unless you read the notes. This one is Dragon Rider from well, Dark Souls 2. Yes, anyway, this one is the Dragon Rider. This one is Dragon Rider from Dark Souls 2. It's an okay boss. It's just a knight. It's literally just a knight. You're just fighting a knight guy. He's in armor. He has a weapon. Very middle of the road boss. The level he's in, the Tower of Hade, if I remember correctly, is a beautiful level. His arena starts out really small, but it gets bigger if you pull some levers hidden around the map. Very average boss. Oh, Dragon Slayer Armor. You have to say it in the British accent, I guess, because it has a U in its name in armor. It's one of the better bosses of Dark Souls 3's base game. It's actually pretty hard. Yeah, let's give it B tier. It's just like a knight. It's a possessed suit of armor. We've seen that before. It's loosely based on Dragon Slayer Ornstein. It's not that exceptional. It's just pretty good. Pretty fun fight against some sort of possessed suit of armor. And there are some like weird, creepy angel-looking monsters that shoot lasers at you. The Duke's Dear Freya. It is a generic spider boss. All these games have a generic spider boss. It's a trope of RPGs, fantasy RPGs. Even Lord of the Rings did it. And it's, as far as spider bosses go, this is a good one. It has a complicated, weird role in the story where it's like not just a spider, but it's possessed by some sort of spirit. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, this is an okay spider boss. B is fair to me. It also appears outside of its arena for an Easter egg in New Game Plus. This one is Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos, and we can debate on how to pronounce that. Could be Ebrietas, could be Ebrietas, could be Ebrietas, could be Ebrietas, Ebrietas, Ebritas, Ebritas. Right. Ebrietas, Daughter of the Cosmos is, well, when you see it for the first time, you see it from behind, and then it turns its head, and you kind of fall out of your chair because it looks so insane. It appears in Chalice Dungeons. It's a really, like, crazy design. Really striking. It bleeds black blood that splatters your clothes. This is a good one. It has good music. It's very creepy and jarring, and it's important to Bloodborne's lore. It's pretty hard. When I fought it for the first time, I was a bit too strong for it, but it is actually really hard, and it's weak to fire. Ilana, the Squalid Queen from Dark Souls 2. This is one of Dark Souls 2's better bosses. I think it's A tier, yeah. I liked Ilana, the Squalid Queen. This is a child of darkness who is related in lore to Manus, Father of the Abyss. No, sorry. B tier. Yeah. I mean, Dark Souls 2 just has generic bosses. It's just like a monster for you to fight. She has attacks. She attacks you. Yeah, she was an above average boss. Speaking of average, looks like C tier here and D tier are a little lacking compared to the others. Maybe that'll change. Now, again, I know you may not be able to tell, but this is Executioner's Chariot from Dark Souls 2, and I was right. C and D tier are about to change, because this is not a good boss. Executioner's Chariot, it's like a demon horse with two heads that runs in a circle, and you gotta dodge it, and then trip it, and then hit it. And so once you're done dodging it, it's over really fast. Pretty freaking dumb. Father Gascoigne. What an amazing way to introduce players to the game they're about to play. Now, not S tier, A tier. Father Gascoigne, he's a hunter, human turned werewolf. Very difficult. He's the first mandatory boss of Bloodborne, and just what a way to start the game. Iconic. Flame Lurker from Demon Souls. This is another A. I like the Flame Lurker a lot. It's one of my favorite Demon Souls bosses. It's just it's just a flaming demon. Looks really imposing. Looks really threatening, because it is. It's a pretty hard one. It's like this giant primate thing that's set on fire and has these demonic horns. You fight it in this cool temple. That's a good boss. Flexile Sentry from Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I mean, this one doesn't make me angry, but it's another friggin' junk boss just to add to the pile of friggin'... It's a shovelware boss. I mean, they just used an enemy from elsewhere in the game and gave it a boss name tag. It's this weird creature where there are two bodies conjoined at the back, and they're wielding 4 scimitars total. It's so easy. It's so forgettable. Folding Screen Monkeys. Oh boy, Sekiro's worst boss. Yeah. It's supposed to be like a puzzle boss. There's no difficulty to it whatsoever. You just gotta solve the puzzle. Thing is, you don't actually have to solve the puzzle. You can just chase them until you kill them, and then they die. Just chase them until it's over. It's so easy. It shouldn't count as a boss. It's so bad. Fool's Idol from Demon Souls. Fool's Idol is not the best. Not the best. Fool's Idol, it has an okay design. I think her face looks a little too dopey, but she has multiple arms. She's carrying like a stack of wax and a book. You can kill her, but she'll come back to life unless you go slay a secret wizard guy, sorcerer elsewhere in the level, and then he'll stop bringing her back to life. She has these weird traps that she sets on the floor. Otherwise, she just spams you with magic missiles, so make sure to wear a magic ring and carry armor that's resistant to magic and a shield that's resistant to magic, and don't step in her traps. And just, she clones herself exactly like Pinwheel. She's basically this game's Pinwheel. You just find the real one, you hit it, it's over quickly. She's pretty easy. Don't fall in the traps, don't get hit by your magic missiles, kill that sorcerer guy. Wow, huh. Forgotten Madman from Bloodborne's Chalice Dungeons. And yeah, you got that right. You are the Forgotten Madman, because I completely forgot about this boss. You only fight it once in the Lauren. Is it the Lauren or the Ailing Lauren or Hintertombs dungeon? I think it's Hintertombs. I'm not sure on that. You fight it in an optional Chalice dungeon, which you don't even need for Chalice dungeon. You fight it in a Chalice dungeon. There's just no really reason to go fight it. It's just a guy. He's just like a guy that, like a normal. See, I completely forgot about this boss until I was reading back through the Bloodborne wiki, and I saw this guy. I was like, wait, did I ever fight him? Did I actually accidentally skip a boss? So I went back and I opened Bloodborne, and I actually have the suit of armor that you get for defeating the Forgotten Madman. So I must have killed him. I have the proof. I just don't remember, because this is the most forgettable boss on this entire list. Which means it's not good. Fume Knight. Oh yeah, this is one of I've already said this like 4 times. This is one of Dark Souls 2's better bosses. The Fume Knight, you fight it in the Crown of the Old Iron King DLC. Ooh, is it S tier? No, it's A tier. It's a good one. It's just like a knight guy with a great sword. He has these things scattered around the arena that heal him, but you have to destroy them. Cool design. It's fun. Fun to fight. He has these dark attacks that can be hard to dodge at times. A lot of people choose to fight him with summons, understandably, so that they can gang up on him and they have one person distract him as usual. Yeah, that's a good boss. Now, the now my file here that I borrowed from the Dark Souls wiki, the file name for this boss is Gank Squad, hence why it's in the G's. But technically, the name of this boss, and it's one of the longest boss names in the entire Soulsborne series, technically the name of this boss is Sarah the Old Explorer, Ancient Soldier Varg, and Afflicted Grave Robber. Right. And it's one of the most lame bosses in all of Dark Souls. You fight it in Dark Souls 2's Crown of the Sunken King DLC. They are both optional and hidden. Even for that DLC, you find them at the end of a rather hard to explore cave called the Cave of the Dead. And it's just a group of 3 regular old NPCs. One's wearing Havel's armor, one's wielding Lucatiel's armor, and one is, well, this guy. Yeah. Oh hey, it looks like Fex for Life is streaming. Good for them. It's just 3 NPCs. You should try to take them on one at a time. Sword guy, bow guy, Havel guy. I find this boss, although it completely lacks any originality, and it must have been so easy for them to program, it's just 3 NPCs. I found it oddly fun. Oddly fun for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I liked fighting the 3 NPCs, so it's a C tier boss. I want to fill out the C tier a little more. But hey, that won't eschew my objectivity. Gehrman the First Hunter. Good boss. Gehrman the First Hunter, one of the final bosses of Bloodborne, although not the true final boss in my opinion. Gehrman the First Hunter is a plot twist, and he's fun. He has a scythe, he has 2 phases. You can summon for this boss, weirdly enough, in an area where you really would not expect to be able to get an online connection. I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know how people... Anyway. It's a good fight against an old man, cranky old man, dramatic music, end of the story. He's the climax of the game, and a decent one. His arena has some beautiful white flowers. I like that boss. Now let's see. Genichiro Ashina and Genichiro Way of Tomoe is my favorite boss flat out. This is the second boss in Sekiro, and I cannot speak as to how much of a thrill it is to fight him. Although he's only the second boss, he's also the hardest boss in the game, simply for the fact that by this point you have like so little healing items and your stats are so low. He's incredibly hard. But at the same time, he's just a sword fight, a really solid sword fight. I mean, he has a bow, but he has all these these moves you gotta memorize. He has these patterns you got to be aware of. And then in his second phase, he takes off his shirt and the rain starts pouring, and he uses lightning attacks as the lightning from the sky strikes his sword, and you have to redirect it back at him. Extremely exciting boss. One of the hardest bosses From Software has ever designed, and one of the most fun. A perfect sword fight. I fought this guy for hours on end just practicing him. I never got tired of it. I never minded losing. It was so much fun. You may wonder why he's on here twice. That's not a mistake. That is actually Inner Genichiro. Actually, are these any different? No, they look the same. So this is Inner Genichiro, and you fight him in the recent updated version of Sekiro, where they added a boss rush. And in the boss rush mode, you can encounter 3 new bosses who are just buffed versions of old bosses. And Inner Genichiro is a buffed version of Genichiro Ashina and Genichiro Way of Tomoe. I mean, it's a good boss. It's just, I don't like its complete lack of originality. This one goes in A tier. Yeah. I also found an exploit for this one that makes it rather easy, because his AI is very exploitable, as a matter of fact. The inner one, the same glitch doesn't apply to the regular one, somehow. This one is Giant Lord from Dark Souls 2, one of the mandatory story bosses that you fight after meeting the Ancient Dragon. Giant Lord is totally mid-tier boss. It's very easy. It's just a giant guy. That's it. He's also a past version, like, he is the younger version of a boss who will appear later on this list. He's just so easy. I mean, his arena's cool, sure. His role in the story is cool. His design is mediocre. His everything is mediocre. I keep forgetting I'm trying to go a little faster here to make better time. This one is Great Shinobi Owl. Your father in Sekiro, fantastic boss. He has so much personality. He has these poison attacks. He has these attacks where he tries to trick you. He has that moment where he begs for mercy, like Frieza or Sans Undertale. I'm just kind of weird examples. It just has so much personality. This is Hidetaka Miyazaki's favorite boss from this game, and it's a good one. It's a good one. It's good. It's fun. He has 2 phases. He has all these weird attacks, and he has cool animations. I love how much personality he exudes. Yep, good boss. Oh, and very catchy music too. Guardian Ape. Guardian Ape. Yep, Guardian Ape. All right. This is another Sekiro boss, and Sekiro. You see how many Sekiro bosses are in S tier? Yeah, Sekiro has way better bosses than the rest of the series, because it takes its combat so seriously. But the Demon of Hatred and Guardian Ape are set apart from the rest of the game because they, well, are not sword fights. While Genichiro and Corrupted Monk and Ishin and Owl all are. These are animals, and they fight like animals. Well, he fights like a demon, but he fights like an ape. He smacks you, he throws stuff at you, jumps in the air. It's wild, it's unpredictable. You can get used to its patterns eventually, but early on, first figuring this boss out, it seems very wild and hard to predict. So that's cool. It also has a surprise plot twist second phase where even though you just cut off its head, it grabs its head and starts fighting you with a sword, like a sword way bigger than than your body is. You can't even call it a sword fight because you're not it's basically an unblockable sword. Very wild, very fast boss, lots of health. Yeah, it's a good one. Guardian Dragon from Dark Souls 2. Yeah. It's a junk boss. It's too easy. It's a dragon in a cage. I suppose its arena looks really cool and has a cool place in the story. Sorry, dude, you're just too easy. It's just a friggin' wyvern that you fight. It goes down really fast. Gyobu Oniwa from Sekiro. Gyobu the Demon is very good. Very good. You actually fight him on horseback. He runs around you in circles. He has this giant halberd that he slashes at you with. You gotta hit his horse and then hit him when the horse collapses. So it's a good one. He's the first boss in Sekiro, and he's pretty hard because that's a hard game. Here, Half-Light Spear of the Church or Spear of the Church. It's based on the Old Monk, which we'll get to later. It's this is one of the most unique bosses in Dark Souls. It's in Dark Souls 3, the Ring City DLC, and it's so unique because it well, it's a real person. If you're playing in online mode, then you get to fight a real player, and that's your boss. If you're in offline mode, you fight someone called Half-Light. But hey, it's super cool to be able to fight a real player. My gripe with this boss is that, well, you're able to summon for it, which is really bad, because that is completely unfair. It's completely unfair to expect the Spear of the Church to fight two people. I don't think From Software should have allowed that. It should have been a fair fight where the Spear of the Church has an advantage because they're the boss. So you gotta be better than the boss, and they get some tools that they can use some special attacks, but they still have the advantage because they are the boss, and you came to fight them on their ground. So you have to be somehow better than them, but you're allowed to summon for it. It frustrates me. Whenever I would play as the Spear of the Church, I would just leave if I saw someone had summoned. Ridiculous. This boss also takes a little too long to actually get going. Like, there's a whole part of the start where nothing's happening. It's staying in S tier. It's just too unique. It's too memorable to be an A tier. This one is also called Bloodletting Beast, and I know we've already put one Bloodletting Beast on here somewhere. Where was it? I think that's it right there. Yeah. This is Bloodletting Beast, but this is also Bloodletting Beast, and they are different because this Bloodletting Beast, it actually has a head, whereas this one is headless. I seem to remember they fight mostly the same. They do have different attacks, and they're both very fun, but they're so similar, same tier. This one, okay, here's another one that reuses a name. This is Guardian Ape, and we just rated Guardian Ape. This one is a rematch against the same Guardian Ape. It's an optional boss, even a secret one, you would say. It's not as fun, though. It's just a repeat of the second phase from this one. However, then there's a second phase after that where it calls in help from a Guardian Ape who's just the first phase of this one. So you fight this one's second phase twice, but the second time around you fight its first phase at the same time. You following? It's just not original. It's okay. It's not creative at all. They're just reusing assets, literally. There's nothing unique about it. It's not as good. You're just retreading ground. And why would you want to fight two Guardian Apes at the same time in a cave? It's not even that hard. It might actually be easier than the original Guardian Ape. I don't like it that much. It's B tier, but it's still above average because it's Sekiro, and who doesn't love Sekiro? Oh, High Lord Volnir. High Lord Volnir is so bad. This is a Dark Souls 3 boss. It doesn't make any sense. The Catacombs of Karthus is a terrible level. It doesn't make any sense in the context of the story, okay? And you travel to the Abyss somehow for some reason to fight him? I don't even know why you need to fight him. You should just be able to go around him, right? So you pick up a cup, and then you're teleported to the Abyss, and then there's a skeleton there. Oh, giant skeleton! I've never seen that before in every Zelda game. Okay, so you fight a giant skeleton. It has weak points. It has golden bracelets and a crown. You hit the golden bracelets. Those are its weak points somehow. And it's so easy. It's way too easy. It has no logical role in the story. And for some crazy reason, if you take too long to beat it, it starts doing weird things. First of all, it can start crawling uphill, which will instantly kill you if you don't run uphill with it, because you're sucked into the abyss. Second, if you take too long to kill it, it pulls out a sword out of nowhere and becomes immediately harder. But you don't need to let that happen, because you can just destroy the bracelets. It's way too easy. It just doesn't need to be in the game. It's a skeleton. freaking High Lord Volnir. Terrible. Okay, let's keep trying to pick up the pace here. We got... this is a big one. Ishin what is this one's called? Ishin the Swords. Wait, technically. Genichiro Ashin... No. Technically. Genichiro, Way of Tomoe, and Ishin the Sword Saint. Yeah, this one is, some of Sekiro's best work. This is the true final boss of Sekiro. It has, 4 phases. Okay, phase 1 is a repeat of phase 2 of this boss. You fight Genichiro, Way of Tomoe again. He has 1 new attack, who cares? Phase 2 is, well, his grandfather's hand bursts out of his chest. I didn't understand the lore here. Sekiro has a confusing freaking narrative. I didn't really care for it. I didn't care for Sekiro's story at all. But, so his grandfather's hand comes bursting out of his chest, and Ishin, this guy here, is reborn in a younger form. Like King Piccolo from Dragon Ball, you guys watch that? He is the true final boss, and it doesn't matter what the story is. Story sucks. He is one of the best bosses. Phase 1, it's a sword fight, extremely challenging sword fight. Phase 2, he pulls a halberd out of nowhere. Now he's carrying 2 weapons at the same time, and he has a gun, so that's 3 weapons. He has a gun for ranged attacks, he has the sword, he has the halberd, he has very long range, and very... he's very fast. He catches up to you really fast. He barely gives you a chance to heal. You can fall off the cliff if you're not careful. You fight him in a silvergrass field. The wind starts howling. Thunder starts bolting. What's the verb? I don't know. Phase 3, he starts using the lightning of Tomoe, like his grandson. And that phase is easier. Definitely phase... Well, that's phase 4, technically. Phase 3, where he's using the halberd, is the easiest phase. And phase 4 is hardest. He's hardest with the halberd, he's easiest with the lightning, because you can just redirect the lightning back at him. Extremely exciting, exhilarating, hyper-difficult final boss. Very brilliantly designed. This is Inner Ishin, and he is no doubt also S tier. He is the final boss of Sekiro's boss rushes. By the way, I did beat Sekiro's hardest boss rush, where you fight every boss in the game minus the Divine Dragon and the Folding Screen Monkeys. And Inner Ishin, he has no Genichiro this time. He has longer ranged attacks. He's faster, he has more HP, he does more damage. Very exciting. Iudex Gundyr. Iudex Gundyr. Iudex Gundyr, meaning Judge Gundyr in Latin. Iudex Gundyr is the first boss of Dark Souls 3. He is this game's Asylum Demon. And I hate Dark Souls 3, kind of. I don't like its bosses, because I think they're too easy, but I'll give it credit. It has a strong first boss. It really, you don't know what the deal with its lore is yet, but hey, it's stronger than the Asylum Demon. And where did I put the Asylum Demon here? In B tier? Yeah, Iudex Gundyr is A tier. Definitely. It's not that hard, pretty medium difficulty, but harder than the Asylum Demon, and harder than Dark Souls 2's final boss, which we haven't rated yet. Iudex Gundyr is a pretty good one. He's a knight dude. He's a living statue who's awakened when you remove the sword from in front of him. He has a second phase where black goo bursts out of him, and that's where I have a problem. Dark Souls 3 has many enemies from whom black goo bursts out. And at first when I saw this happen to Iudex Gundyr, I was like, that's cool. I'm curious to see that get explained and see what role that has in the story, and it never is explained. Okay? This black goo thing, it happens a lot in Dark Souls 3, but it's never explained. and it's even in the first boss of the game, so it's completely misleading. It's a decent, fun fight, though. Just a disappointing game, in my opinion, for sure. This one is called Keeper of the Old Lords. Keeper of the Old Lords is a Chalice dungeon boss, of course, and one of the pretty good ones. Let's go ahead and put Keeper of the Old Lords. Okay. C tier. Yes. Yeah, C tier. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna... Should Alana go down to C tier? Let's put Ilana in C tier. 'Cause she's not very good. She's just okay. Is she better than the 4K? Yeah, this is fair. And Keeper of the Old Lords, she goes here too. She's just like a person. She has no role in the story. She's a Chalice dungeon boss, so of course she doesn't. She has fire attacks, and she's pretty difficult. Not terribly fun. Average boss. This one is King Allant. Yeah, and King Allant goes in A tier. It's a bold choice. King Allant was a bold choice. You may not be able to tell what you're looking at, but this shadowy blob here is King Allant. This is the true final boss of Demon Souls. And it's really shocking that FromSoft made an intentional decision to make the true final boss of Demon Souls an extremely hard game. About as weak as a Magikarp. That's what it feels like. It feels like King Allant's only move is struggle. He's a fleshy blob. It's a huge plot twist. You've been expecting something, the boss before this was actually the true final boss, because the boss before this was really freaking hard. And then you enter this thing's arena, you expect it to be some big deal. I guess it is a big deal. It just ends up being depressing. It makes the game's ending is pretty strong. It's a pretty good ending. It leaves you feeling like you won, you did the right thing, but, well, it was disappointing. I mean, you had to make sacrifices, and you're just reminded of that by the fact that the final boss is a flesh blob that can do nothing but squirm. It can hit you, but it's really easy to dodge. My problems with this boss are, it was a super bold choice to make such a hard game have such an easy final boss. I guess the boss before it is supposed to be the true final boss, but the ending left something to be desired, and because of course I was expecting a real final boss, and I didn't get what I expected, and it was a huge twist. No one could have expected that King Allant would have become this after all he was built up to be. This is one of the craziest bosses in the series. It's most likely the easiest boss. It's even easier than Brain Sucker down here. It's even easier. It has to be the easiest boss in the series. It's just a Magikarp. It can only struggle. So, of course, it would be cool to have a hard boss, but by being so easy may actually make it much more memorable than what could have been a harder final boss. It's a very interesting one. It has a good effect on the ending. Orphan of Kos. Yeah. From Bloodborne's DLC, the old hunters. Oh, the Orphan of Kos is an amazing boss. What with the mesmerizingly horrifying beach that you fight it on. It's such a serene atmosphere that you fight it in. It feels like you're having a really uncanny nightmare while you're fighting it. It feels like this is simulating the exact experience of having a bad dream. Not to mention, it's extremely difficult and really fun. You're extremely unlikely to be able to beat this boss in co-op because it's very rare that players make it to this point in the game. Only like 10% of players or something ever beat the Orphan of Kos. And so it's very rare that people will be actively playing in the area that you encounter it in. So you're almost guaranteed to have to fight it alone. It fights using its own placenta. It was just born. It's an infant great one. And it fights using its placenta as a melee weapon. It has a second phase where it grows wings, has this dramatic yet serene and eerie music. It's pure white, it's fleshy, it's like some kind of mollusk. It's disgusting. It has placenta. You're fighting it on a dark beach with some water, and it feels cold and dreary. And there's a crashed ship in the distance and the moonlight, and its dead mother is sitting right there, and she looks like she could be the final boss too, but she's just lying there. Ugh, terrifying. Amazing final boss. My only problem with it is I wish that it gave you a better reward. Your only reward for beating the Orphan of Kos is literally a joke weapon. You get a joke tentacle weapon that's not effective at all in any combat scenario. Very fun, though. You get an achievement you can show off to people, you know? Lady Butterfly. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sekiro's bosses are amazing. She's S tier. She's an optional boss. She is basically a sword fight, although technically she fights not with swords, but with kunai, or daggers, or whatever. I can't even tell. She is just so fun. She's almost as satisfying to fight as Genichiro. You fight her in a burning building. The only problem is, the only thing I never understood about this fight is when she uses this illusion technique. I didn't get it. She summons all these ghost warriors that aren't very much of a threat at all, and they go away the moment that you hit her. However, the game tells you earlier on that you're supposed to eat some magic peas to make the illusions go away, but that's not true. The game lies. You eat the peas and nothing happens. I think if they're near you, they go away. But why even waste the peas when all you have to do is land one hit on her, and she snaps away all the phantoms? That's weird. Weird game design choice. Like, I must be misunderstanding something. It's conveyed strangely. Super fun. Love her. Who is that? I can't even tell. Oh, I see now. Yeah, you see its body there. See the arms, the head. This is Lawrence the First Vicar. Lawrence the First Vicar. Another one of my favorite Soulsborne bosses. This is the most rarely beaten non-chalice dungeon boss in Bloodborne, if you look at trophy statistics. This is a DLC boss. You can only unlock it. It's a very closely hidden secret. Not easy to find on your own unless you're looking at a walkthrough. But you can only unlock it after beating Ludwig. He's a fire-themed boss, similar to the Cleric Beast, but so dramatic, has one of the best songs in all of Soulsborne with these crazy Latin lyrics that's so dramatic. Lava spewing out of his body. There's a second phase where he loses his leg, he's just crawling across the ground, scraping towards you. You can summon League Master Valter to fight him with you. Very dramatic, hyper difficult boss. So frenetic. So, like, constantly crawling towards you. Never stopping. Puking lava in your way. slashing at you. Extremely fun boss. And actually, you get a pretty good reward for defeating him. Leechmonger. Leechmonger is a D-boss. Yep, I'm pretty confident about that. Leechmonger is a pile of leeches. It's in Demon Souls. You fight it in an arena that amounts to nothing more than a big cave with a winding staircase around its edge. So you just walk towards it slowly. It kind of shoots leeches at you, but they're easy to dodge. All you gotta do is get down close to it, use an item to light your weapon on fire, and then just hit it a bunch. It's very easy. It's weak to fire. You just kill it. It's a pile of leeches. It might be harder. It might be easier to. It might be harder to. What am I trying to say? It's a pile of leeches. It's so freaking easy, and generic. Oh. Living Failures. This is a weird one. Living Failures is a Bloodborne DLC boss in the Old Hunters, and fun fact, 4 out of 5 of Bloodborne's DLC bosses have a name that start with L. Anyway, what is there to say about the Living Failures? It's the least good boss in Bloodborne's DLC, but it's still an okay one. It's a collection of about 4 or 5, it's hard to remember, Celestial Emissaries, so it is harder than the Celestial Emissary. However, these ones have deflated heads because they are malformed, and they each have different abilities. Some of them shoot you with magic attacks, some of them try to melee you, and you just gotta find the weakest one of them and keep hitting it. They all share the same health bar. It's fairly easy, although the magic attacks are powerful. There's the Celestial Emissary. It's is this C tier? Yep, C tier's fair for this one. Pretty middle of the road, not that good, not that bad. I do feel like it's fair enough to say that Freya is a better boss than the Living Failures. Failures they are. One weird thing about them is that I've never seen 2 bonfires so closely together as the Living Failures and Lady Maria's. Isn't that weird? I legitimately can't tell what that's supposed to be. I gotta look it up. Okay, so this one is supposed to be Martyr Ligarius, although I can't see where he is in that image. I don't know what any of this is. Pretty weird. Martyr Ligarius is a good one. He's A tier. Martyr Ligarius is a Bloodborne boss, a very well hidden optional one. He's way out of your way. You gotta do a lot of crazy stuff to find him, and then once you kill him, there's another secret beyond that. That's pretty cool. And then there's another secret beyond that. Jeez. Yeah, Bloodborne is one of the heaviest when it comes to secrets. So is Dark Souls 1. I'm talking about the Vile Blood Queen and about Alfred's side quest. Piles upon piles of secrets, right? Martyr Ligarius, he's like a ghost. He's like a skeleton dude. He floats around. He has a red robe. He has a scythe. I know you can see none of that in this non-descriptive image. He shoots skulls at you like smoking skulls. It's hard to avoid his attacks. He's very mobile. And you can fall off the roof that you fight him on. He also has a long run back if you lose. Very difficult, but he's base game Bloodborne, hidden secret boss. Pretty fun. A tier for sure. This one is Looking Glass Knight. A decent boss from Bloodborne. Yeah, B tier is certainly fitting for that one. Sorry, I said Bloodborne. Looking Glass Knight is actually from Dark Souls 2. Yeah, you fight Looking Glass Knight about halfway through the game. Has a cool design. Like a silver suit of armor with a giant shield with a mirror on it, and out of the mirror comes red phantoms who fight you during the boss fight. Has a cool arena. Has a decent role in the story, guarding the tomb of the crypt of the undead crypt, and guarding the secret passage that leads to King Vendrick through the Shrine of Amana. Let's see. Looking Glass Knight, yeah, it's pretty fun. I remember it's not that hard. It's on the easy side, but I remember this was an enjoyable boss in Dark Souls 2, and the coolest piece of trivia about this boss is that very rarely, if someone invades you in Castle Drangleic, like a real player I'm talking about, they can come out of Looking Glass Knight's mirror and actually battle you. And I actually did that once. I was invading in Castle Drangleic. I came out of the mirror. I had no idea this was possible, and I actually killed the person. I killed the person that I was summoned to defeat, and I prevented them from defeating this boss, and it was pretty satisfying that I got a chance to do that. So in that way, it is similar to Spear of the Church or Old Monk, who is down here. What is that? What is that? I think that's Lauren Silverbeast. I was correct. This is Lauren Silverbeast. Guess what tier I'm going to put it in. Guess. What, you think Lauren Silverbeast is one of the standout bosses of Bloodborne? Do you think it's... Look, it's another Nothing Chalice Dungeon boss. Some of these Chalice Dungeon bosses are pretty good. Some of them are like, what, you just gave a default... You gave a... It's like Goomba. You Goomba stomp it. It's a Koopa. It's like fighting a Hammer Bro in a Mario game is easier, no, harder than killing this Lauren Silverbeast. It's nothing. It breathes fire. Who cares? You kill it in 5 hits. This one is the Lauren Darkbeast, which is actually very different. It has a similar name to the Lauren Silverbeast, but it's very different, and that's because the Lauren Darkbeast is a... That's right, it's an exact clone of Darkbeast Parl. There might be a few visual differences, but it fights the same. So I would put it in A tier, but it's going in B tier. First of all, for a lack of originality, and second of all, because the circumstances under which you fight Darkbeast Parl are much cooler. It has a cooler arena, it has a good song. This one is just the same monster, but in like a sand pit. Who cares at that point? You know, it's not interesting. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods is... oh boy. I mean, it's an excellent plot twist when you find out that Aldrich has subsumed and taken over the body of Dark Sun Gwendolyn here. That's a cool twist. But and it's also cool that this boss's music is a remix of Gwendolyn's music. That sounds sadder, but like it opens lore questions. Like, how did Gwendolyn survive when you clearly kill him in this game? And how did Ornstein and Smoth also survive? These guys, that's a question for another time. I don't understand Dark Souls 3 lore, it's pretty bad. But Aldrich, Devourer of Gods, is an okay boss. You fight it in a really lame version of On Orlando that was supposed to be cooler, but it was awkwardly shoehorned in due to cut content reasons. So you fight Aldrich in the exact same room where you fought Ornstein and Smoth, however this time it's filled with black muck, and Aldrich is a goo monster who, like, was a human until he ate too many people, and that turned him into a goo monster. Okay, and now he has a magic staff, and he shoots magic missiles out of it, and yeah. Yep, definitely a C boss. I don't freaking care for Dark Souls 3. I don't like Dark Souls 3. Okay? I mean, what about this boss is so good? That it references Gwendolyn? So what? It just makes me question, wait, how did Gwendolyn survive in that game? It's not that fun. It's not that fun of a boss. Aldrich has very little HP, so he goes down fast. He's weak to fire. His attacks don't do that much. They're kind of easy to dodge. It's an easy boss. It's lame. Doesn't matter to me. This one is Lothric Younger Prince and Lorien Elder Prince, also known as the Twin Princes. Yeah, this is a good one. A little too easy. The deal with it is that you got two brothers, Lorien and Lothric. And Lorien is crippled, so he can't walk, but he teleports to you instead, which is an interesting concept, and teleporting cripple. Lorien's pretty strong. Once you defeat Lorien, Lothric revives him, and then you gotta defeat them together, back to back. Lothric is the white mage in the situation. Yeah, I like this boss. It could afford to be harder. B tier? Yeah. Yep, B tier. Yep. Just taking a look through. Well, anyway. It's an okay boss. Okay though. Here's a less good one. Yep, it's Yorm the Giant, everybody. Honestly, okay, bring me the biggest Dark Souls 3 fan in the world. Okay? I want to listen to them tell me why Yorm the Giant is a good boss. There's no reason that anyone could ever come up with that this is a good boss. Okay, one reason. He looks cool. Oh, but even then there's a problem with that. Hey, why does Yorm have a face when every other giant in the series has a hole for in their head for a face? Okay. This boss is hyped up as at the beginning of the game when it appears in that really cool cutscene. It looks amazing. You're looking forward to fighting it, and then you actually get there. Okay, the profaned capital is the worst level in the entire game. You're expecting a real city. It has the word. It's called a capital. You're expecting a city. Okay, what do you get? A tower, prison, throne room, and a treasure room. It's like tiniest capital I've ever seen, and it's all in a cave on the underside of a dungeon, like for criminals, and the dungeon is bigger than the capital. Okay, perfect. Yorm the Giant is not a good boss, okay? There are 3 ways to beat it. Number 1, you find a weapon called the Storm Ruler, which was in Demon Souls, and the Storm Ruler, I mean, previously it was used to take down manta rays, but now apparently it's the weakness of giants. Okay, makes perfect sense to me. So you find the Storm Ruler, and it has a special attack where it charges up a wind blast. You kill Yorm, it takes about 5 wind blasts. I can't quite remember, maybe more than that. Very easy. I mean, he barely even gets the chance to attack you because he's so slow. So slow. Very easily keep distance between you and Yorm. Second way is you complete Sigvard's side quest, and by talking to Sigvard enough times in enough of certain locations, he will meet you in Yorm's arena, and he will call Yorm an old friend and defeat the boss for you. Okay, great. So first we had, where's the Ancient Wyvern? First we had a boss you can defeat in 1 hit. Now we have a boss you can defeat in 0 hits. Thank you, FromSoft. What? You call this game challenging? That's what you sell Dark Souls 3 for? Oh, it's the successor to Dark Souls 1. It's going to be so hard, right? It removes all of the challenge that I expected when I bought the freaking game. It's not hard. You kill Yorm in 0 hits by using the Sigvard method. Because he has his own Storm Ruler and he kills it for you. It's never explained why Sigvard and Yorm are friends, and you never see Sigvard again. Lame. The third way is actually the way that I beat him on the first time. You don't use the Storm Ruler, and you don't use Sigvard. You just chip away his health. It took me like 25 minutes in 1 attempt. And I didn't die, because he's so slow, he couldn't touch me. You seen what the problem is? This boss has like 2,000 HP, and is just so slow that he can't kill you. So I spent 25 minutes chipping away its HP, and I actually preferred doing it that way than the Storm Ruler way. It's a little more fun. A little. Still a trash boss for idiot babies. Abyss Watchers. It's an okay one. It's a main story Dark Souls 3 boss. It's their design is Bloodborne, their story is what? Their story doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't get it. They're too easy. They have 2 phases. I just don't understand them. I don't understand like what they're doing there, why they're killing each other. It's not specified. Nothing in Dark Souls 3 is specified. It's all open to interpretation and just bad. And they're too easy. I don't think I've ever lost to the Abyss Watchers. Could be wrong. I can't tell what this one is. Okay, this one is Lost Sinner from Dark Souls 2. It's an okay one. It's one of the early mandatory bosses. You fight it in the... Gosh, I can barely remember the name of the prison you fight it in. The Lost Bastille. I think that's what it's called. And you fight it in a dark room. However, you can light up some torches to make it easier to fight. You don't have to do it to beat the boss. It's not much to it. It's just a female sword fighter who's pretty easy at the bottom of a really hard to explore, tough dungeon. B tier? No. C tier? C tier? Yes. Yeah, C tier. Nothing really wrong with it, just pretty average, middle of the road boss, you know? It's a person. There are weird lore theories surrounding them. This one is Lud the King's Pet and Zalin the King's Pet. D tier. This boss is fascinating because it's at the tail end, the very end of the Dark Souls series' most infamous location, the frigid outskirts. You spend... it's the longest run back in all of the series. Okay, you die to this boss, you can spend 15 minutes getting back. You gotta go through a frozen wasteland full of these really tough horse creatures. It's really hard to see your way through the blizzard. Then you cross the gap of a chasm and you reach this boss, okay? It starts out just one. It's a clone of Ava, the King's Pet. Except it's black instead of white. So you fight Lud the King's Pet, and then once it's at about half health, Zalin the King's Pet jumps in, and now you're just fighting two Avas at the same time. So it's literally twice as hard, maybe even 2.5 times as hard as Ava. But pretty lame way to reward the player for that whole treacherous journey through the frigid outskirts, wouldn't you say? I mean, that area is so hard to traverse. This boss you may not be able to tell. I mean, I certainly can't. This is supposed to be Ludwig the Holy Blade. Well, excuse me, Ludwig the Accursed / Ludwig the Holy Blade. One of the only bosses in the series where its name changes on the name tag before you kill it. Fantastic boss. Incredibly terrifying design. It's a body horror boss. The best music of any of these games, the best song in any Soulsborne game is Ludwig the Holy Blade. Okay? Try to contest that if you can. I don't think it's possible there is a better song. Extremely catchy song. Very emotionally moving. So much fun as a boss. He has so many attacks. He's extremely fast. He's relentless. Never leaves you alone. Doesn't give you a chance to heal. So much damage all the time. I was like fighting Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's huge and he's body horror. I mean, with all these limbs and these fleshy protrusions, all the blood that pours around the arena, all the corpses. Just very riveting boss. And for the second phase, he stands up on his hind legs and lifts the Moonlight Greatsword that you're so familiar with. He's huge. He's so cool. Love this boss. Oh gosh. Wow, way to go from Mount Everest to rock bottom. Well, what these two bosses have in common, Ludwig and Maiden Astraea, is that their arenas are both full of blood. They're pools of blood. But Maiden Astraea is really, really, really unspeakably bad. Maiden Astraea, you fight her directly, like a few seconds after you kill the Dirty Colossus. I mean, this boss makes Dirty Colossus look A tier. But Maiden Astraea, okay, you're in this narrow little chasm. You can choose to go multiple directions. But there's one direction that you're really supposed to go, and that direction is guarded by this guy, Garl Vinland. So you try to cross this path, but Garl Vinland, you have to fight him You have to go through him before you can get to Maiden Astraea. And he's just an NPC. Okay, he just has like a shield and a little staff, whatever that's supposed to be, a hammer. Oh yeah, that's like a mallet of some sort. So you fight Garl of Vinland. He's pretty tough, but the thing is, you can cheese him, you can poison him, you can exploit his AI, you can just do whatever you can, and then you just approach Maiden Astraea, and she's also an NPC. You talk to her, she's like, "Oh, you here to kill me? Okay, I guess I'll kill myself." And then she kills herself. And I tried sniping her from a distance before killing Garl Vinland, but she just cast a healing spell on herself and just healed up. Her arena, the blood pool at the bottom, is full of these little fetuses, and no matter how many fetuses you kill, they keep coming back. So touching them is an immediate death sentence, because they kill you and there's an infinite number of them. I've never seen them stop spawning, the little fetuses. It's very awkward. This is one of the most awkward feeling bosses ever. You're in this blood pit with these fetuses that kill you instantly. There's Garl Vinland. There's some items scattered around, but you're afraid to pick them up because of the fetuses. You approach her, the boss, and she kills herself. You just gotta go through Garl Vinland. Man-Eater Boar. Yay! It's another case of a Chalice dungeon just giving a boss nameplate to a very common and weak enemy type, the Man-Eater Boar. It's a giant pig. You shove your fist up its private area, and that's not a joke. That's actually how you kill it. It's very easy to kill with a backstab, and your fist clearly goes in a disgusting direction. Oh, no wonder these bosses were placed right next to each other, because this one's called Man-Eater Boar, and this one's called Man-Eater. Yep. Man-Eater and Man-Eater. This is an okay one. I'm gonna put it at a B, even. Right. No. C. Yep, C. Because it's not as good as Sir Alan. No way. Yeah, Man-Eater and Man-Eater, it's a couple little gargoyle chimera-looking things who fight you on a bridge! What do you know? So many bosses you fight on a bridge. So you fight at this one on a bridge, and its whole deal is it tries to knock you off the bridge. It's actually very challenging. It flies around, so it doesn't stay still. It's always ramming into you, trying to knock you off. It has a screaming attack that will push you back a lot. And then when it reaches low HP, its stronger friend shows up, and now you're fighting two at the same time. So you gotta kill the first one quick, and then get around to the second one. Very tough. Oh, and if I haven't mentioned it, this is Demon Souls. What is that? Ah, well, this is Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. What a good one. Yeah. A tier? S tier? S tier? Yeah, let's put it S tier. I think. Yep, sounds right to me. She's really cool. I mean, it's a big plot twist when you find out she is what the doll was based on, and she has this sword coated in like a shimmering, floating coat of blood, very long katana she's carrying. She's very fast, has long range with this stupid Sephiroth sword. Her music is amazing. She's a DLC boss in Bloodborne. Really nice. Only problem is she is the easiest DLC boss, and I do not like that. I killed her on my second attempt, I'm pretty sure. I wish she were harder, that's all. Good friggin' boss. Murgo's Nurse. Murgo's Nurse is, technically a final boss of Bloodborne, although not a true one. B tier, A tier, A tier. A tier is pretty fair. She's really fun. She has like 6 different arms, I think. She's invisible under that cloak, because she's a great one, and great ones are, well, some of them are invisible. Not all of them are, actually. Ariatis isn't. Orphan of Kos isn't. Some of them appear to be invisible, so if you're going for a certain ending, she can be the final boss. She's really cool. Her arena is cool. Her music is music box melody. She has a variety of attacks. She can teleport. She can disappear. She can go slicey dicey. She's weak to fire, but still really strong. Yeah, very fair boss. Very well-rounded. Doesn't ever feel frustrating. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh, but there is something wrong with this Bloodborne boss, because this is Mikolash, host of the nightmare. Jeez. Okay, look, he's a guy. People make Nicolas Cage jokes because his name's Mikolash and he wears a cage on his head. He's a guy with a cage on his head. Okay, he howls like a furry. He goes, ow, ow, and he's so bad. You meet him in this like labyrinth library, and you chase him, and he runs away from you like a little kid in a playground. He just runs, and he laughs like ah ha 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 ha. So you chase him, and then you hit him, and he disappears, and he's like, the nightmare churns and swirls unending. And then you run up a flight of stairs, you kill some unrelated zombies, and he keeps like taunting you by saying nonsense. He's a crazy guy. You keep chasing him, okay, and at this point, there's two ways you can go about it. A lot of people choose to... There's a part where you're on a balcony looking down at him. He's below you, and you're supposed to drop down to continue chasing him. At this point, a lot of people choose to throw poison daggers at him, which is a solid strategy. It'll take a good, like, 5 minutes to work, and he glitches out when you do it, because he will cycle the same animation. He looks like he's tripping over and over while he's poisoned. But you can kill him this way. Or the intended way you're supposed to kill him is to drop down the balcony, chase him some more, and he'll lock himself in a caged room. Then you have to find your way into the caged room and then kill him there, but it's pretty hard because he's actually quite strong at close quarters because he has these really strong short-ranged magic attacks that are hard to dodge. But he's just a guy. He's really not intimidating at all. He looks so dumb. Such a dummy. The first time I ever beat him, okay, I chased him down to the caged room, and before I could find my way in, his AI glitched out. He's supposed to stand still on the opposite side of the caged room, but for some reason he chose to chase me despite the wall separating us, so I was able to hit him through the wall until he died. Yeah, obviously, this is one of the worst bosses ever. Like in gaming history. I mean, are you kidding me? Freaking Mikolash. Moon Presence. It's a good one. Is it 8 here? Maybe not. I don't think it's as good as these. I like the Moon Presence, but... Look, its design is okay. It's just like a messy pile of flesh with tendrils. Its role in the story is actually quite interesting when you look deep into it. It's very hard to find Secret Boss. You can only encounter it by going through the Gehrman ending after having consumed 3/3 of an umbilical cord. That's not a joke. And you can only find 4/3 throughout your entire playthrough, possibly. The Moon Presence disappointed me as a final boss. I felt that it was just another monster that rushed at me. And those, like Dark Souls 2, just this is the true final boss and it's just a big bully. It just runs at you and you just hit it. Didn't have anything unique about it. Certainly looks unique. Didn't have anything unique about how it actually fought. Just kind of slashed at you. What, it looks like that and it's just going to hit you with its hands? Okay. Its only unique attack is this, not a good one, it's this undodgeable attack where it screams and then you lose 90% of your HP. How is that fun? Just undodgeable 90% HP loss? You're just going to heal that back right away because it's just standing there, so you just drink your blood vials. Yeah. Could certainly use some work, I'm sorry. Mytha the Baneful Queen. Kind of D tier, yeah. Yeah, that's, yep, definitely fair. Okay, so it's in this pool of poison. You stand in the poison, you get poisoned, you lose a ton of HP. You can choose to fight it that way, but it's almost impossible because you're being poisoned so fast. And the poison actually heals her. It's possible to kill her like that, but what you're supposed to do is go outside the arena, turn off the poison, and then come back, and now you can fight her normally. There's still a little bit of the poison circling the room, but now most of the room is clear of the poison. And she's just a snake lady missing her head. She's a Medusa. She screams at you. She has a knife. No big deal. Pretty lame boss. Just attack her. Defend yourself from her attacks. Nashandra. This is the final boss of the original version of Dark Souls 2. And without Aldia, it's quite clear why people were disappointed in the story of the original Dark Souls 2, because this is not a great final boss. It's like a fleshy skeleton lady. She's a child of darkness. She's the daughter of Manus. She's the wife of Vendrick. And she has a very cool role in the story, I'll admit. But gameplay, she has a scythe. She hits you. She's really easy. She has some undodgeable, like, pillars of darkness that drain your health, and you gotta destroy them. She's much easier with summons, of course. I mean, she's nothing if you summon people. She's weak to fire. She's pretty freaking easy for a final boss. Just another beast type monster like the Moon Presence. You just hit her, she hits you. You know how it is, you know? Mytha. Boring. Ava. These beast type bosses that are just so simple-minded. Guardian Dragon. Dark Souls 2 is really guilty of this. Man-Eater Boar. I'm having trouble telling what that one is. Gonna have to look it up. Oh, now this one is, you're gonna have to help me pronounce this one. Osiros the Consumed King. How do you say it? Osiris? 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 Many different possible pronunciations. I'm gonna say Osiros the Consumed King. Osiris sounds cool, though. Maybe it's that. He's unique because he talks more than most Dark Souls bosses. He's in Dark Souls 3. His lore is super confusing. He claims to have a daughter that he's looking for, but you never meet this daughter. I thought I would when I was playing the game. I was surprised that the daughter never showed up because I thought she would be important. Some people speculate that he's holding an invisible baby. But I mean, Dark Souls 3 story is really vague, and it could really afford to be more specific about stuff. You feel me? His design is pretty interesting. He's like a human who's turning into a dragon. He looks disgusting. He's too easy, though. Too easy, D tier. He's not unfun, he's not frustrating, he's not unfair, he's just way too easy. Old Hero. Old Hero. I like this one quite a bit. A tier or B tier? Let's say B tier. Old Hero is a Demon Souls boss. It's very unique because he's a giant Polynesian-looking human with white skin and blonde hair. I've never seen any design like that in any game. And I've never seen Dark Souls represent Polynesian or Pacific Islander culture either. He's blind, so he relies on sound to find where you are, so you can stealth around him. But once he does know where you are, it's pretty threatening. You gotta try to stay behind him at all times, but he has attacks that he can still reach you back there with. Good boss in the Shrine of Storms. Old King Alant. Alright, this is the true final boss. I mean, no, King Alant is the true final boss, but this is the true final boss. You know what I mean? Because, well, this one's actually hard. So, one of the hardest bosses in Demon Souls. Probably not the hardest, in my experience. But he's super cool. What I love about this boss is how he's just a normal guy. Yet they manage to make him give him such an intimidating presence. Very impressive. I just like how normal he is. He's not an NPC, for sure. Like these worshippers of the dead, wherever I put them. C tier. Yeah, here they are. Old King Allant, pretty hard. He's very fast. He's got long range. It's also a trope in all of these games that near the end you fight a nihilistic old man, isn't it? Ishin, Owl, Gehrman, where's Gehrman? I don't know. Gwyn, Vendrick. You see my point? All the, I can't really think of an example in Dark Souls 3. I like Old King Allant, moving on. Old Monk. Yep, there are 3 Demon Souls bosses that have names beginning with old, and this is super cool. I put Spear of the Church up at S tier, and Old Monk is exactly the same concept. It's a real player, you're PvPing. It's very cool, very well executed, and since these are basically the same boss, except Spear of the Church may be harder. Yep, S tier. Old Demon King? Gosh, I don't like the Old Demon King. It's a boss in Dark Souls 3, it's optional. It's in one of the worst areas of the game, the Catacombs of Karthus, aka Demon Ruins, aka Smoldering Lake. Tons of cut content there, tons and tons. It's a way too easy boss. How is it the father of the Demon Prince, yet it's so much weaker? It's the oldest demon in existence. It's so easy. Dark Souls 3 is insultingly easy. I almost can't forgive it for that. No, I can't forgive Dark Souls 3 for having some of the easiest bosses ever. This one is Old Dragon Slayer, I believe. There's another old boss. Yeah, Old Dragon Slayer. It's not too interesting. Old Dragon Slayer is a direct reference to Dragon Slayer Ornstein. It has the same armor, except it's silver this time instead of gold. And instead of electric attacks, the old Dragon Slayer uses dark attacks. But it has the same... I mean, it has new attacks, just has the same model. They reuse the same model. Its song isn't as good as the Smough Ornstein music. It's an early Dark Souls 2 boss that you have to beat in order to find a Covenant, so it's... you know... It's easy, it's forgettable. Just a guy in Ornstein's armor. The Old Iron King, who actually looks very similar to the Flame Lurker. I don't know if I've already put the Flame Lurker up here or if it's somewhere down here. The Old Iron King is an okay boss from Dark Souls 2. It's a story critical boss, of course. He's very central to the lore. It's pretty early in the game, though, in its early half. Old Iron King isn't that good. It's a huge demon boss that arrives out of the lava, very tall. You're on this like thin patch of bricks and in the lava, and he will try to push you into the lava, instantly killing you, or he has a fire breath attack that can also knock you back into the lava. So you're trying not to fall into the lava. He has huge meaty fists that he pounds you with, or tries to at least. You gotta attack the fists. You can approach him directly and attack his body. I like this boss's design. His gameplay is not great. Owl Father. Owl Father, Owl in parentheses Father, is a very well hidden secret optional boss in Sekiro that you need to fight in order to achieve the rarest ending of the game. Owl Father is I think Sekiro recycles a few too many bosses. Owl Father is an empowered version of Great Shinobi Owl that you fight in the past, actually in the same arena as Lady Butterfly. He's necessary for completing the game, however he's super optional and secret. He's the same boss, but with a few new abilities. Like he can teleport, has a few new sword techniques. He's a few years younger, so he's just stronger. Pretty fun. I just don't like that he's a recycled deal. This is Inner Father. Yep, you really fight Owl 3 times in Sekiro. Inner Father is used in the boss rush mode, same as Inner Genichiro and Inner Ishin here. Inner Father, very fun. Took me a lot of practice, same as Inner Ishin. Very, very hard version of Owl. Super hard. Oh, yeah. Here we are, guys. Penetrator. Yep, this boss's name is Penetrator. Put it in B tier, along with Priscilla. And Alon, because Penetrator is... Oh, this is such a funny name. Penetrator is just a knight that you fight in Demon Souls. He's just a knight. He's like, I've already told you everything there is to know about the boss. You fight a knight in Demon Souls. His name is Penetrator. He's fun. Really simple though. Phalanx, F tier. What a terrible way to start the game. Okay? What a terrible first boss. Right? Honestly. The freaking Phalanx. Okay? It's so unimaginative. It's just... Like, this art might make it look cool, but it's so much lamer in the game. It's just a collection of weaker enemies that you've already encountered earlier in the game, okay? So, you want a cool boss to introduce you to this new world? Fine, how about like 20 of something that you've already fought? Cool. That's the boss. Does that sound cool to you guys? No. Pontiff Sulyvahn from Dark Souls 3 is C tier? Yeah, seems fair to me. Pontiff Sulyvahn, I suspect some people might like this boss. I'm not a fan. It's pretty average. He's like a guy in a church. He has some lore that I never really understood. He works for Aldrich. He came from the painted world of Ariandel. I don't understand Dark Souls 3's lore. It's really bad, and this boss has one sword that has flame attacks, one sword that has ice attacks. He has okay music. I don't care for his design. I think he clones himself at one point. Yeah, he's like a magic clone. This boss is made way too easy by summons, which... Don't use summons in Dark Souls 3, okay? Feel free to summon in Bloodborne. That game's really hard even if you do summon. Dark Souls 3, man, you kill the game by summoning. Okay, there's no game to be played. Why do you even buy it? Because people are going to carry you through every boss. Is that what you want? Do you want to sit back and let people play the game for you? Okay, don't use summons. This boss is mediocre. Oh goody, another church boss. Prowling Magus and Congregation from Dark Souls 2. Ugh, F tier. This is a good example of what's wrong with Dark Souls 2, okay? Just every enemy that's not just a plain old hollow is made a boss. And in fact, sometimes hollows are made bosses. Like in this case, Prowling Magus and Congregation. Okay, what is Prowling Magus and Congregation? It's a guy and 10 other guys, okay? It's like 11 guys in a room. You enter a church room, there are 11 hollows in there, you kill them. Ugh! It's so easy. You think this deserves to be a boss? Because I don't. Ridiculous. Even worse than Deacons of the Deep. Which I put right here. Thumerian Descendant from Bloodborne. I don't remember the difference between Thumerian Descendant and Thumerian Elder, so I'm forced to put them in the same place. They are both Bloodborne Chalice dungeon bosses, right? They're like old hunchbacked guys who are surprisingly fast for being like 1,000 years old. Let's put them both in D tier, because they're not... I don't remember either of them being very good. Just a couple of guys who rush at you. Medium difficulty. Chalice dungeons tend to be hard. Okay, I take that. They're on medium. They're actually pretty hard. I just don't remember liking them. And, you know, if it were a good boss, I think they would stand out to me. So you seriously wouldn't be able to tell here by this highly zoomed in image, but looking at this man's crotch, this is the Pursuer. This is Pursuer from Dark Souls 2, one of the first Dark Souls 2 bosses. Pursuer is actually pretty good. B tier? Oh yeah, I think Pursuer is very fun. He's a lot of Dark Souls 2 bosses are just beast type bosses that just rush at you. This guy, he's a floating knight. That might tell you all you need to know. He's a very strong, huge, floating knight. He swings a sword at you, and that's it. He's an early boss, so he's not supposed to be very hard. I mean, you hear my voice just crack right now? Yeah, he's not very hard because he's like he could be the first boss you fight in the whole game. It's possible. I just remember liking him a lot. He's pretty fun, and he also shows up as a mini boss later on in a buffed form. This is Rom the Vacuous Spider. Good Bloodborne boss. Put it in B tier. It's not that good. Rom the Vacuous Spider has an interesting place in the story. Very cool design. I mean, look at those eyes and that furriness, and you fight him in a Moonlight Lake, this endless, shallow lake expanse. See, Rom has an army of baby spiders who, Rom has an army of baby spiders who you have to kill before you can get to Rom himself. Or herself? I don't think Rom's gender is ever specified. Well, they could be her children, I guess, but I don't know. Rom sounds like a male name to me because rhymes with Tom. Okay, so Rom the Vacuous Spider. You have to kill a bunch of baby spiders, and then you start hitting Rom itself, and it's a very sturdy boss, has a lot of HP, also has very strong melee attacks, has a few ranged attacks it can blast you with that are deal magic damage. I seem to remember Rom is weak to fire, not sure on that though. It counts as a great one. Pretty cool story boss. Not excellent or anything, because, you know, it's just like kind of like the Phalanx, another collection of monsters for you to kill, and the spiders jump at you. Once you get them out of the way and you hit Rom teleports away, and you gotta chase it down and hit it again, and it gets slightly harder. You can actually beat it very early without going through its multiple phases if you have a weapon that deals high enough damage. This boss is Royal Rat Authority. Again, another example of what's wrong with Dark Souls 2. Yep, you got a giant rat. Could have easily been a mini boss. You made it into a full boss. It's very easy. It's just a giant rat. Very easy. Oh, but this one's even worse. Royal Rat Vanguard. Hooray. Royal Rat Vanguard. Let me bring you... Let me explain the Royal Rat Vanguard to you, okay? So you're in a sewer. It's a really short sewer. It doesn't take you long to explore. You get to the end of the sewer. You cross a fog wall, as you do with all bosses. And on the other side, there's a bunch of rats. So you start killing the rats. They're so easy. They're just rats, okay? They're even easier than they were in Dark Souls 1. Every game has rats. Even Bloodborne and Sekiro. Does Sekiro have rats? Anyway, you've killed like 10 rats, and then a rat with a mohawk crawls out of a hole, and you kill that, and the boss is over. You win. Okay? It's not an extra strong rat or anything. I might be like 25% stronger. It's just a rat. Why is this a boss? Well, anyway. I believe the Royal Rat Authority is optional, and the Royal Rat Vanguard is mandatory. I can't think offhand of a way to skip the Royal Rat Vanguard. But whichever one you choose to kill, by killing that one, you unlock the Rat King Covenant, which, I mean, the character of the Rat King himself is genuinely hilarious, but the Covenant is totally defunct, because nobody... It's kind of like the Watchdogs of Farron. Just, you can't get a connection when you're using it. It doesn't work. It's too rare that anyone would ever happen to be exploring the places where it would be applicable. Ruined Sentinel Alessia, Ruined Sentinel Rike, and Ruined Sentinel Yahim. 3 possessed suits of armor. We've seen this before in Dark Souls 2. You fight them in the Lost Bastille. I hope that's the name of the place. The Ruined Sentinels, they have a special set of armor that looks pretty neat. They each carry a javelin. They're the exact same enemy type. It's a weird boss. Dude here. It's weird. You enter the arena, you're on a raised platform, And there are two ways you can choose to go about it. You can drop down immediately and fight all three of them on flat ground, or you can have them jump on top one at a time and fight them on a very narrow piece of ground. Weird boss. This is Scorpioness Naika. Scorpioness Najka. Let's call her Najka. Scorpioness Najka, Naika J. There's a J in there. Is an outright ripoff of Chaos Witch Quelaag. Wherever I put her, I don't see Quelaag. Instead of a spider, she's a scorpion this time, and instead of fire attacks, she has magic attacks. Lame, 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 lame. C tier. Not original, not fun. I don't like Najka. Shadow of Yharnam, Shadow of Yharnam, and Shadow of Yharnam. Interesting boss. 3 regular-sized people in black robes, each one's carrying a different weapon. One's got a sword, one's got ranged fire attacks, and one has a bigger sword? I'm pretty sure that's right. So they each attack you in different ways, and you have to try to kind of manipulate their movement, balance them between each other, attack only one at a time, try to attack the weakest one first. You gotta be really strategic with this one, because once one of them hits low HP, they enter phase 2, where they all grow snake heads, becoming stronger and having longer range, and they have this really annoying attack where they summon snakes from the ground, giant snakes to come bite you. It's a hard boss in Bloodborne. I forgot to specify this is in Bloodborne. It's a story mandatory boss. Pretty good. A tier. It deserves. Pretty good. They also show up later in the game as mini-bosses and common enemies. Here we are. Sin the Slumbering Dragon, huh? The only S-tier Dark Souls 2 boss aside from Burnt Ivory King. Sin the Slumbering Dragon, so cool. You got this dragon with a bunch of lore attached to him. It's honestly an interesting story, in my opinion, attached to Sin. He has a huge lance stuck in his chest. He has poison, breath, interesting flavor text associated with him. Sorry for assuming Sin's gender. I guess it's an it. I don't remember if it was gendered in the game. Whatever. Very fun boss. Very fun. Most fun dragon in Dark Souls 2. More fun than the Ancient Dragon. Yeah, love Sin. The dragon, not Sin in the other context. Very fun dragon boss. It's not as generic as other Dark Souls 2 bosses. It actually feels unique, although it may be in the worst DLC that Dark Souls 2 got. Dark Souls 2's DLC is actually really good. Dark Souls 2 DLC is some of the best Dark Souls that you can play. The rest of Dark Souls 2 is not as good. Crown of the Sunken King, though, is the weaker of the 3. However, I still think Sin the Slumbering Dragon is a very fun boss, has a lot of HP. And has exciting music. Oh, here we are. This is Sister Frida, Father Ariandel and Frida, and Black Flame Frida. Very long boss name. Happens in 3 phases. This is a Dark Souls 3 DLC boss in the Painted World of Ariandel, or aka Ashes of Ariandel. The only other boss in this DLC is the Grave Tender Wolf, and I don't like that one. However, I do love this boss. Yes. This boss, actually, I like this boss's lore. Which is saying something for Dark Souls 3, because I hate Dark Souls 3's story, but I like this boss's story. I actually analyzed it. I like its symbolism. I like its presentation. The music is great. The way the arena is on fire, the way the blood trickles. I think Father Ariandel is a really cool looking dude. Very fun boss. I played this boss dozens of times because I grinded it. I grinded this boss to earn Sunlight medals, so I played it a lot in co-op. Great boss from Dark Souls 3's DLC, which has much better bosses than most of the base game. On the other hand, Slave Knight Gale. Okay, unpopular opinion time. Slave Knight Gale is B tier. Is he A tier? Nope, he's B tier. Let me tell you why I'm so disappointed by Slave Knight Gale. A lot of people love this boss. This is the true final boss of the whole Dark Souls series. He's the final boss of the Ringed City DLC. And some people love Slave Nightingale, okay? He has good music. My praises stop there. He he's easier than Midir, which disappointed me. He's actually much easier than both Midir and the Demon Prince, which is disappointing, because Dark Souls is supposed to be about challenge, and he's not challenging. I hate that. His music is good, but I freaking hate Dark Souls lore, and this guy epitomizes that. Because what is he? He's nobody. He's a new character, has no backstory. No backstory that you ever learn, okay? And he fights you for no reason. He says, like, he points at you and he says, "Give me that thing, your dark soul." What is he talking about? Why speak in riddles? Just, like, tell me, just be cool. You're saying nonsense. From Software wrote nonsense into the game so that we could pretend it's not nonsense. They made their story nonsensical so that we could make detail where there is none. He points at you. He says, "Give me that thing, your dark soul. I need it for my lady's painting. Will you please speak English?" Okay? He's not challenging. I don't understand his arena. You fight him in a field of ash. Are you at the end of the world? Then why is there a world outside that field of ash? What is happening? Dark Souls 3 doesn't tell you what's happening. The other Souls games do tell you what's happening, for the most part. Dark Souls 3, it's random. It's random. He's not that fun. He's not that fun of a boss. I beat him on my second or third try. I can't really remember. I didn't care too much. He's so easy. Smelter Demon from Dark Souls 2. It's an okay boss. Smelter Demon, it's just a big ol' flamin' demon that supposedly killed the old Iron King. Came out of the lava and killed him, and yeah, it's not too much to say. It's a flaming suit of armor made of iron, very large, swings at you with a flaming sword, has a phase 2 where if you get too close to it you're burned. You can fight it with Lucatiel for an achievement. Yep, it's a decent boss. Does it belong in C tier? I think so. It's pretty average. Blue Smelter Demon. Well, technically, this one's also just called Smelter Demon, but commonly known as Blue Smelter Demon. It's a buffed version of Smelter Demon. Points off for lack of originality. You fight it in the Crown of the Ivory King DLC in Dark Souls 2. It's just the same thing, but more HP, more damage. Also has a much... well, both of these versions of the Smelter Demons have very challenging runbacks. Probably equally challenging. Oh no, Soul of Cinder. It's time for me to give another unpopular opinion. It's definitely D tier. I mean, it would go in C tier if not for one thing. It is supposed to be more than it is. It's such a disappointment. I mean, is it fun to fight? Is it more fun to fight than the Smelter Demon? Sure. But it's supposed to be the final boss of Dark Souls' story. Gale and Soul of Cinder, they're both supposed to be the end, the climax. Okay, why is Soul of Cinder on the game's box art? Why spoil the game by showing the first thing that people see from Dark Souls 3 is the final boss. Okay, and what is the final boss? Well, it's an amalgamation of the souls of all previous Lords of Cinder. The story doesn't make sense to me. Okay, story doesn't make any sense to me. It tries to nostalgia bait by playing Gwyn's theme. It didn't work for me. It didn't make me feel nostalgic. It's too easy, and it just didn't feel right. Didn't feel like final boss material to me. There could have been so many other things that could have been the final boss of the Souls series, and instead, okay, it's a possessed suit of armor. Okay, and you're playing Gwyn's theme for nostalgia bait? Okay. I hate Dark Souls 3. I mean, I don't actually. It's an okay game, but it's very disappointing compared to because it doesn't fulfill its potential. Same as Dark Souls 2. Neither Dark Souls 2 nor 3 compare in any stretch to Dark Souls 1. They're both around 7 out of 10. Storm King. Storm King is a Demon Souls boss where you see the first appearance of the Storm Ruler. It's a pretty good boss. B. Pretty good boss. I think this boss is very dramatic with the storm swirling around you. You got this giant sea creature with this glowing eye floating above you. It's very creepy. It's not hard because you use the Storm Ruler to attack it from afar. But it's just very cool how the storm rages around you and there's this giant, terrifying beast hovering above you. It just looks cool. It's pretty fun. Also really good for grinding souls. And that's about all there's to say about Storm King. Look at this. The Last Giant. Yep. This is the first boss of Dark Souls 2, unless you choose to fight the Dragon Rider instead. The Last Giant is a very good way to begin the game. Let's give it A tier. It's an easy boss. It just looks really cool. This stone giant shackled and has this giant obelisk stabbed through its chest. It's been imprisoned for probably hundreds of years. It's a great early boss, good way to introduce you to the game and its story, which is largely about giants. Giants are an important have an important role in that game. Only weird thing about The Last Giant is it's not The Last Giant. There are very clearly other giants elsewhere in the game, such as in the Black Gulch. Also, many people theorize that the Ancient Dragon is just a transformed giant that turned into a dragon, and they have good reason to speculate on that. Very good reason. Look at this. King of the Storm and Nameless King. This is a great boss. This is the best boss in Dark Souls 3's base game, and I'm giving it an S tier. King of the Storm and Nameless King. Okay, fantastic plot twist when you find out that Gwyn's son, eldest son, mentioned in Dark Souls 1, who was sentenced to Damnatio Memoriae, was you find out why. Because he sided with the dragons in the war against dragons during the Age of Ancients. So he shows up riding upon this dragon called the King of the Storm. You slay the King of the Storm and fight against Gwyn's eldest son. Great plot twist. I never thought this character would actually show up in gameplay. He's really fun, too. Really fun boss with his lightning attacks, his spear. Very dramatic music. Again, the Raging Storm is such a great way to make a boss automatically exciting. Ishin does it, Storm King does it. Always love me a good storm while fighting a boss. Yeah, only weird thing about Nameless King is glitches. When I rang the bell that summons the Nameless King, it caused a lot of weird visual glitches to happen around Archdragon Peak. And not only that, they also extended all the way, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, the visual glitches extended all the way to Lothric Castle, where after, not Lothric, wait, yeah, it is Lothric Castle. After I rung the bell, which initiated the storm in Archdragon Peak, I mean, it would appear to be raining indoors in Archdragon Peak. It would appear there would be fog even after I killed the Nameless King. There would be like different weather conditions in different parts of the map. And then when I went to Lothric Castle, or the High Wall of Lothric, the eclipse was gone. It was now just a normal looking sun. No more eclipse. Weird visual glitch. This icon represents the One Reborn from Bloodborne. Pretty good boss. A tier, B tier, B tier. The One Reborn, very cool design. It's a fleshy monster. It's pretty hard too. Yeah, huge. It has multiple weak spots because it has so many different parts of its body. I don't understand whatsoever what the One Reborn's role is in the lore. That confuses me, but I always had fun fighting it in Bloodborne, and it's one of the main story bosses. You can't skip it. Actually, I have heard of a method of skipping it, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I'm thinking of a way to skip Yahar Ghul. but you still have to fight the one reborn. This patch of unidentifiable orange here is the Rotten. Ooh, cool boss name. You're so innovative, Dark Souls 2, with your names like the Rotten. I don't know. It's a C-tier boss. It's a pile of corpses and sewn together flesh, I think, that arises from a pit of garbage, and it hacks at you with its axe. It's an okay boss. Pretty not that hard. It's the Rotten. Not that special. It's everything I just told you. Dragon Rider and Dragon Rider, also known as Twin Dragon Riders. We've already discussed the Dragon Rider from the beginning of Dark Souls 2, and this is two of them. One of them is wielding the same weapon as before, which I think was a spear. The other one is wielding a bow. It snipes at you. It snipes at you while the other one slashes at you. It's very easy. You fight it in Dragon Lake Castle. Very easy boss. Not memorable at all. Generic. Excuse me, I was looking at this wrong. This isn't the Dragon Rider and Dragon Rider. This is the Skeleton Lords, which happen to look vaguely similar. Skeleton Lords, let's see. Yeah, Skeleton Lords, super generic. I mean, Skeleton Lords? What an unimaginative boss. So it's a couple of skeleton lords who command an army of skeletons, and basically you're just fighting like 30 different skeletons, all with different abilities, and a pit of bones. Okay, not fun. No, it's okay. C tier. It remains in C tier. It's not a special boss at all. Throne Watcher and Throne Defender from Dark Souls 2. Story critical boss. Not that good. Let's give it D tier. I don't know, it's just like a woman and a man who fight you with melee attacks, and they're really easy, and their whole purpose in the story is that they watch a throne. Okay. Tower Knight. This is a good boss from Demon's Souls. Let's give it B tier. Tower Knight is a towering knight. Amazing design, very lovely to look at. You've seen this boss in promo material, I'm sure, if you've watched the trailer for Demon's Souls. Tower Knight has a shield the size of a tower, hence its name. It's also the size of a tower. He's an easy boss. You gotta kill like 6 guys standing around the Tower Knight, and then you focus on the Tower Knight itself. You're supposed to trip the Tower Knight by attacking his heels, and then when he's tripped, you can hit him in the head for massive damage. He's not that fun. He's just above average. Pretty cool to look at. Tripping him always takes too long, and I might be doing something wrong. Maybe there's a weak point I haven't identified. I don't know. I still haven't played a ton of Demon's Souls yet. He's an okay boss. Here are the Twin Dragon Riders. Dragon Rider and Dragon Rider. We already discussed where we're putting them, of course. So they belong in C tier. You may be noticing, or you may have noticed long ago, there are 3 of the same exact boss right here. Well, these bosses are all called Undead Giant. The reason I included them 3 times is there are variants of them. I mean, one has a cannon arm, one has only melee. I can't remember what's different about the third one. We're going to include them all in the same rank, which is... I actually remember having quite a bit of fun fighting the Undead Giant variants, so we'll put them all in B tier. Yep. I can't remember. I remember one of them has a cannon arm, one of them has only melees. I don't remember what's unique about the third one. I'll have to look it up. Ah, that's right, I just looked it up, and one of them has scythes for arms, one of them has a cannon arm, and one of them has a club, as well as a bunch of ball and chains tethered to it. So that one's pretty tricky. Yeah, I remember having fun with the Undead Giants. This is Vanguard Demon, and we can debate whether this counts as a boss. This is Vanguard Demon from Demon's Souls. The thing that separates it from other bosses, well, first of all, the things it has in common with all of these bosses. The Vanguard Demon has a name tag with a red health bar, just like all these guys, and it drops a boss soul. The thing that separates it from any of these is that you can only attempt it once per character. You make a character, you only get one shot to beat this boss. And that is because it only appears in the tutorial level, which is canon to the game's story. It appears at the end of the tutorial level, and if you fail to beat it, then you're sent straight on to the next part of the story, to the Nexus. If you do beat it, however, you get the boss soul, and you're treated to a secret area with a special cutscene and a bunch of loot for you to grab. So the Vanguard Demon, I actually have beaten this boss in the PlayStation 5 version of Demon's Souls. I really like it. A tier, yep, A tier. Vanguard Demon looks amazing. This is really cool to look at. It's fun. I used Poison Kunai to hurt it. You can only fight it right after you made your character, so that's the challenging part. You gotta do it without any level ups. If you get hit twice, you lose. The trick is to stay behind it. Try poisoning it like I did. That worked for me well. I think it's really cool that you're rewarded to a secret for beating it. That's better than the absolutely almost nothing you get for beating the unwinnable Genichiro counter at the start of Sekiro. I only wish that you could rematch this guy. I know there's a Vanguard Demon in the Shrine of Storms, but it doesn't count as a boss because it has no name tag. It has no arena, even. This one does. It's a boss, by my definition. And I like it. This is Velstadt the Royal Velstadt the Royal Aegis, which is a Greek word meaning shield. Velstadt the Royal Aegis is a pretty good boss from Dark Souls 2 B tier. Yep, absolute B tier material. The really noteworthy thing about this boss, I mean, aside from it's kind of important in the story and you have to beat it to beat the game, is, well, it's the only time I've ever seen in any video game a bell used as a weapon. A bell on the end of a stick. With one exception, Bloodborne does that for a couple of mini-bosses. Which could have been inspired by Velstadt for all I know. This is a good boss, I like it. It's a medium difficulty, kind of on the easier side. Vendrick. Alright, now we've made it to a special one. Vendrick is an optional super boss in Dark Souls 2. You actually meet him immediately after beating Velstadt. Huge spoilers and plot twist when you meet this guy. You've been hearing about him the whole game. You've been wondering like about the mystery of where he is, what he's doing. You're chasing him down, trying to find him, see if he's still alive even. You finally meet him. He's a hollow. I thought it was a really effectively dramatic plot twist when that was revealed, with the eerie music, the way you find him just pacing in a circle naked and his footsteps are so loud because he's huge, because he was basically a god during his lifetime. You don't have to fight him. Well, you kind of do, because I've read that you don't unlock the true boss, Aldia. Here's Aldia. You don't unlock Aldia, the true boss, unless you defeat Vendrick. And Vendrick is really hard as a super boss. He has an extremely high amount of HP. However, his defense lowers for every giant soul in your inventory, because the giants have a strong vendetta against him in the story. So you can get giant souls from various locations. There are giants that you can kill to drop them. The Ancient Dragon also drops a giant soul wherever the Ancient Dragon is, somewhere. So Vendrick becomes more beatable the more giant souls you have. You can beat him without any giant souls. It'll take longer though. It just makes it faster to have giant souls. He has an extremely high amount of HP. He's really slow and his attacks are easy to dodge. If he does hit you, lots of damage, but easy to dodge, so all you gotta do is spend about 15 minutes with a couple of giant souls in your inventory, just whacking him. It's not a very dynamic boss. It's really slow. I just thought its place in the story was so cool. The music, the arena, the twist, the design, the aftermath, talking to Vendrick in his past form, as so many good rewards for beating his hollow form. Yep. I think A tier is deserved. It's hard to tell, but this one is Vicar Amelia from Bloodborne. Vicar Amelia, amazing. This is like the boss that you show to people when you're teaching them about Bloodborne. It's the definitive Bloodborne boss. Huge cleric beast. I mean, it's different from the cleric beast, but it is a type of cleric beast. Weak to fire, can heal herself once she's taken a lot of damage. Don't let her do that. Very fast. You have to really be on your toes, keep moving. Very difficult early game boss. She's the second mandatory boss of Bloodborne, and I love her. We're getting pretty close. Alright, Vort of the Boreal Valley. Vort of the Boreal Valley. I don't like Dark Souls 3. C tier. He is the second mandatory boss of Dark Souls 3, and you fight him in the High Wall of Lothric. I think his design's really cool. He's an icy quadruped humanoid in armor, in a suit of armor. I've never seen that before. Quadruped, but with like traditional European knight armor. It's pretty weird. He's giant. I like his design a lot, and his music's okay too. He's just another case of being too easy, dude. Way too easy. Regrettable. Merciless Watcher, and Watcher Chieftain is a Chalice Dungeon boss that's going in F tier, because it's very easy. It's a couple of extra large zombies. You've already seen them individually many times throughout other Chalice Dungeons, and now as a boss you're supposed to defeat 3 of them at one time. They're really easy and unimaginative, what can I say? The Witch of Hemwick is another one of Bloodborne's worst bosses. The Witch of Hemwick is, I mean, you can really smell the cut content wafting from her. It's not a fun boss. So this invisible witch, this ugly invisible witch, is slowly pacing around the room. She summons these familiars who are much stronger than her, but they're just as slow. So you can walk around them and they'll never catch up. Okay, so you go around the familiars. They're really, really strong if they do hit you. Just ignore them. You can hear the pitter-patter of her feet. So you go towards the sound, you find her, she appears when you're close enough to her. You just hit her a bunch of times, and then she dies. And then a second witch shows up. Now there's 2. So you just repeat the same process, and then you're done. It's one of the easiest bosses in Bloodborne. There's no challenge to it whatsoever. Weird glitch thing is, once you defeat the Witch of Hemwick, she there's an audio glitch where you can hear this loud fanning noise from her dead body. It sounds like a wind tunnel. It just repeats endlessly until her body despawns. It's weird. I don't like this boss whatsoever. Lastly, one more Chalice Dungeon boss. This Chalice Dungeon boss is unique in being the only Chalice Dungeon boss which you get a trophy for slaying, which in the end makes the Chalice Dungeon somewhat worth it if you are one of the people like me hunting the Platinum Trophy. Because this boss is Yharnam Pthumerian Queen. Quite a big plot twist when you meet her. Well, first of all, because you've seen her around before, but you didn't know her name. Her name's Yharnam, so the city was named after her. Big plot twist. She's also the queen of the Pthumerians, so, I mean, you know, other people can analyze the lore. That's not something that I'm very fond of doing for Bloodborne. Yharnam Pthumerian Queen is a D-tier boss. She, for being one of the most important bosses in Bloodborne, and only like 6% of players ever beat her, because who would bother going through all the challenge of Chalice Dungeon super bosses? Chalice Dungeons can be so hard. The boss before Yharnam Pthumerian Queen, if I remember correctly, is an Amygdala, or maybe that's in the dungeon before her dungeon. She's like a zombie in a wedding dress that's stained with blood, because some people speculate because she's had an abortion gone wrong with her son Murgo, or that all great ones have miscarriages. There are theories about why her wedding dress is splattered in blood. She's apparently married to Odin. Why am I talking about lore? Just need to talk about game. She's not fun. She stuns you with a scream, and she stabs you, and that's it. She's actually really weak. She has low HP. It's just, you have to get so strong to defeat the amygdala that come before her that by comparison, she's nothing. Nothing compared to the amygdala. So you're way over prepared by the time you finally reach her, and she just goes down quickly. Although she does have the potential to insta-kill you, because that stabbing attack can be really strong and she stuns you. That's it. Disappointing Chalice Dungeon boss. And that's my list. It looks pretty balanced, doesn't it, huh? Yeah, most of we've gotten to 3 rows for each, well, row for each category. And that covers 167 different bosses that I've gotten to slain over the last couple of years. Been meaning to do this for so long. Feels good, man. Well, what do you guys think? I guess I leave it to you. There's nothing more to say. We just finished analyzing every last one of these bosses. Amazing. And I've been recording for almost 4 hours. So this video is going to be about 3.5 hours long. Well, what a use of my time, right? Alright. I love analyzing video games. I love Soulsborne. I love all these games. I'm so happy. And let me know what you guys think. See ya.